Chapter 1061. Nostalgia and Apologies. What? From your eyes. I can see nostalgia and apologies. Chu Hen was stunned. Immediately, he shifted his gaze away and rubbed his nose a little apologetically. I'm sorry, I forgot myself. I just thought of a friend from a long time ago. Every time she went out on mission, she would wear a mask. Is that why you helped me? The woman turned slightly and looked at Chu Hen. Chu Hen shook his head. I haven't thanked you yet when we were at the lake in the forest. I just happened to pass by. It's not wise of you to offend the top 3 forces of the Midland for such a small matter. The woman's voice was gentle, and her tone was indifferent. It was as if the critical moment, just now, was not that dangerous for her. Maybe. Chu Hen laughed heartily. His handsome face looked especially clean. But it's not a small matter for me, so you're not with him? Chu Hen shook his head. I'm just looking for someone. Looking for someone in the Immortal and Devil Tomb? The woman was slightly surprised. Yes, that's surprising. Have you been in the Immortal and Devil Tomb for a long time? Chu Hen suddenly asked. Not yet. I came the day I met you. Got it. Chu Hen's eyes flashed with a trace of sadness. If the woman had been here for a long time, he might have been able to get some clues about Luo Mengchong. After all, she disappeared through the crack behind the space-devouring cave. It would definitely cause a big commotion. But the woman came to the Immortal and Devil Tomb on the same day as him, so there was nothing he could do. What happened in the Immortal and Devil Tomb? Why are there so many demon beasts here? Chu Hen opened his mouth to ask, but soon felt that it was not appropriate, so he corrected himself. Sorry, I was just asking. The pair of clear eyes behind the mask looked at him with interest. You shouldn't have asked, but there's no harm in telling you. A glimmer of light flashed across Chu Hen's eyes. The woman replied softly, Thousands of years ago, a large-scale foreign race war broke out here. At that time, over a dozen powerful humans perished, and the devil race's Yama King and a demon race emperor were killed here. Yama King, monster race great emperor? The corners of Chu Hen's eyes narrowed slightly, and he had an idea. After the fall of the monster race great emperor and Yama King, the evil aura they left behind never dissipated due to their overwhelming strength. As time passed, this area gradually became a forbidden area. Thus, it was called the Tomb of Immortals and Demons. It means that the Tomb of Immortals and Demons is where immortals and demons are buried. The Tomb of Immortals and Demons buried immortals and demons. Chu Hen nodded, indicating that he was listening. The demon clan has invaded the Immortal and Devil Tomb on a large scale to retrieve the demon emperor's bone that was left behind during the Great War. Demon Thearch's bone? Chu Hen was stunned. Bring it back to be buried? Since that's the case, it's reasonable. Why would those sects interfere? The other party didn't answer Chu Hen's question. She stood up slightly and stood on a tree branch, tall and elegant. It's enough to know a rough idea. There's no need to know too much. Yes. Chu Hen nodded gratefully. Buzz. The space trembled, and airwaves stacked up. Along with a powerful aura, over a dozen dazzling light beams descended from the sky, like auroras descending from the sky, and landed directly on the peak of a towering mountain. This group of people had an imposing appearance, wearing golden battle armor and holding holy light spears. Their cold eyes revealed a sharp glint. They actually escaped to the tomb of immortals and devils. A deep and cold voice was filled with coldness. Accompanied by a frightening cold aura, a haggard middle-aged man with sunken eye sockets, as thin as a zombie, walked forward. His cold eyes that were suffused with a dim light swept over the endless deep mountain range in front of him, and a trace of a savage smile appeared on his shriveled lips. No one can escape from me. Qin Xiong he. Thank you for telling me this. In the quiet forest, Chu Hen looked at the mysterious woman in front of him. Before he could say anything, he suddenly sensed a familiar but cold aura. It's them. Chu Hen was shocked, and he couldn't help but frown. I didn't expect them to chase me all the way here. The cold aura was still fresh in Chu Hen's memory. Back then, the other party directly slammed him into the sea from the flowing cloud golden ship. the Light Saint tribe. Previously, after leaving Whale Island City, he was intercepted by the Light Saint tribe on his way. Chu Hen moved alone, and a fierce battle broke out between him and the Light Saint tribe experts. Although Chu Hen had used a trick to kill another ancient Eternal Realm expert, Yin Quan, on the Nameless Island, the leader, Qing Xiong, was too strong, and Chu Hen didn't dare to rashly counterattack, so he could only choose to leave. Originally, he thought that he had completely shaken off those people after coming to the tomb of immortals and devils. He didn't expect them to be able to track him all the way here. It was really unexpected. You seem to be in a bit of trouble, the mysterious woman said softly. Chu Hen's brows slightly relaxed, and he smiled embarrassedly. I'm sorry, I have to go first. With that, Chu Hen nodded and turned to leave. But just as he took 2 steps forward, his expression suddenly changed, and a scorching pain spread from his chest. What's going on? Chu Hen subconsciously covered his chest with his hands, and only felt that the 8 extraordinary meridians in his body were burning, and it was very uncomfortable. It's the hidden attack of the Lotus Sun descends to the world. The calm voice came from behind again. Hidden attack? Chu Hen's handsome eyebrows knitted, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. The mysterious woman shook her head. It seems that you know nothing about the forces in the Midland. The Lotus Sun descends to the world of the profound Sun Palace is known for its overbearingness, and the reason why it has such a strict training requirement is that the Sunfire hidden force is extremely difficult to control and can easily injure oneself. But once you master it, it can hurt others invisibly. Hurt others invisibly? Chu Hen suddenly understood. In other words, although he had stopped Qin He from launching, the Lotus Sun descends to the world at the last moment. The hidden attack released by the chaotic power had secretly drilled into his body. By now, the Sunfire hidden force had already flowed through all major meridians of his body, and that was why the reaction was so strong. He had been too careless. Chu Hen silently shook his head. The situation was too critical before, so he didn't think too much. As expected, when dealing with people from those powerful sects, he couldn't be careless. Just when Chu Hen didn't know how to deal with the predicament in front of him, the mysterious woman's calm voice came out. Chapter 1062. You stay. At this moment, the mysterious woman said indifferently. Chu Hen was stunned at first. Then he understood what she meant. That person's cultivation level is very high. I'll be careful. The other party didn't seem to mind, giving off a faint sense of aloofness. Seeing this, Chu Hen nodded. Even though he didn't want to owe the other party another favor, it seemed like there was no better way. Under such circumstances, if he forced himself to show off, he might very well lose his life. Immediately, the woman stepped lightly on the branches of the tree and turned around, preparing to leave. Oh yes, I'm Chu Hen. May I know your name, miss? The woman paused for a moment, then turned sideways to face Chu Hen. Chu Hen continued. I just feel that after accepting your kindness twice, if I don't even know your name, it's a bit unreasonable. My surname is Bai. The girl lightly raised her jade-like hand. Her slender and white fingers held onto the mask on her face. Then the mask slowly moved away. In an instant, the air in the forest seemed to have entered a state of stillness. Chu Hen's pupils slightly trembled. Under the mask, it was a face that could cause the downfall of nations and people. Her eyebrows were as beautiful as a painting, her skin as white as snow, and a pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes that could bring disaster to a country. Even though Chu Hen had seen countless women in the past, and many of them were beautiful, he couldn't help but be stunned. A peerless beauty, not an exaggeration. My surname is Bai, and my name is Qinyu. Her beautiful eyes met Chu Hen's gaze, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly, like a poem or a painting, a smile that could bring disaster to a country. I just feel that it's a bit impolite to introduce myself with a mask. By Qinyu, shallow and deep, eternal joy unending. It was as beautiful as if it was prepared for her. Like a footprint left in the snow, shallow and deep, pure and white. Seeing that Chu Hen was a little at a loss, Bai Qinyu put on the mask again. Then, this will be the first day, huh? Chu Hen was taken aback. What? The first day we met, Chu Hen was taken aback, then responded with a smile. It's my honor. Farewell. Be careful. Also, thank you. Bai Qinyu nodded lightly and disappeared into the deep forest. After a brief moment of absent-mindedness, Chu Hen gently shook his head. Why did it feel like a dream just now? Speaking of which, when the man was wearing a mask, it did remind Chu Hen of an old friend. Sacred Star Empire. The regent, Huang Fuqing. Of course, Chu Hen preferred to call her Xiaqing. Nostalgia. Apology. Indeed, if she wasn't a member of the royal family, perhaps she wouldn't need to feel nostalgic and apologetic. She clearly remembered that when she left back then, she left a gentle kiss on Chu Hen's lips and smiled as she bid farewell with tears in her eyes. Can't hate, because love. He couldn't love, because he couldn't face it. Now that several years had passed, the only thing Chu Hen felt for Huang Fuqing was nostalgia and regret. Swish, swish, swish. The sound of rushing wind continued to sweep across the sky. More than a dozen sharp auras closely followed the fast-moving figure in front of them. Both sides kept a certain distance from each other, like a game of tag. Just as the two parties entered a few cliffside gorge one after the other, a strong and powerful aura suddenly erupted from the pursuers behind them. Humph! Stop! Tiangang Palm! Buzz! In an instant, the color of the sky changed. Along with the tumbling clouds that could topple mountains and overturn seas, a huge black palm descended from the sky. It was like the hand of a god reaching down from the heavens, directly sealing off the path of the person in front of it. Boom! The peerless power struck down solidly. More than half of the two mountain peaks were directly crushed, and the scattered gravel and shock waves swept out wantonly. The people in front were directly knocked back. Swish, swish, swish. The pursuers behind took advantage of the situation and blocked the pursuers' way like heavenly soldiers and generals. Where's that little bastard? A cold chill caused the airflow to drop. A middle-aged man who was as thin as firewood and as thin as a zombie had a cold look in his eyes. Do I know you? In front of him, a delicate figure wearing a mask replied indifferently. The Light Sacred Clan's guards were confused. The chief guard, Song Li, walked up to the middle-aged man and said in a low voice, Lord Qing Xiong, we're chasing the wrong person. Chasing the wrong person? However, Qing Xiong's sunken eyes shone with a cold light like that of a venomous snake. Humph! You deliberately lured us away. You must be with that bastard. If you don't want to die here, hand him over obediently. What if I don't? Bai Qinyu said softly. Hey, do you know who we are? Qing Xiong's eyes were ferocious. I don't know, and I don't want to know. Very well, since you're seeking death. How can this elder not fulfill your wish? Qing Xiong's killing intent exploded, and surging true inner energy surged out. The aura of a level 3 eternal realm and above pressed down on the pursuers like a mountain. The Sacred Clan's guards were also ferocious. One by one, they took out their weapons, and the dragon-like light patterns quickly wrapped around the spears in their hands. Take him, yes. As soon as he finished speaking, the guards immediately surrounded Bai Qinyu. Beams of dazzling light beams were like rainbows after a rain, illuminating the sky. However, Bai Qinyu stood motionless in the air, just as everyone's attacks were about to reach him. An incomparably strange power spread out from his body. Countless rays of resplendent golden light instantly bloomed. Like the bright moon, like the stars. His originally extraordinary temperament was sublimated once again. In an instant, the pair of clear eyes behind the mask quietly turned into a pair of mysterious golden pupils. The incomparable aura of a supreme being was like that of an emperor. It was a power that struck straight into the depths of one's soul. While what? Through the mask. The moment Qing Xiong saw the pair of golden eyes, his expression changed drastically. An unprecedented fear immediately covered his thin and withered face. You are... God. His trembling voice did not have the chance to finish speaking. Buzz. The space behind the mask trembled violently, and a few black dots of light vaguely appeared in the golden pupils behind the mask. The dots of light chased after each other, and an extremely powerful aura spread out. The space where everyone was immediately distorted. Qin Xiong's pupil shrank. Song Li and the other sacred guards also had a bad feeling. No bang! An incomparably heavy, earth-shattering sound exploded in the void, and a vast and majestic golden cyclone directly swept out in all directions. Heaven and earth trembled, and the surrounding mountain ranges were flattened one after another. For example, the shockwave of a golden storm directly swallowed Qin Xiong, Song Li, and the others. In just a second, everyone's aura disappeared without a trace. The Sacred Clan's team. Chapter 1063. Phew. In the depths of the deep and gloomy forest, Chu Hen, who was hiding behind a shrub, let out a deep breath of dark red hot turbid air. His closed eyes slowly opened, and his bright eyes glowed with a sense of relaxation. Finally got rid of the sunfire hidden force. Chu Hen shook his head and sighed. The profound Yang Palace's unique skill, advent of the Lotus Sun, was indeed extraordinary. The sunfire hidden force was invisible and could hurt people. Fortunately, he managed to expel it in time. Otherwise, it would have been troublesome. I wonder how Miss Qinyu is doing. Chu Hen's eyes were filled with gratitude, but he was also a little worried. After all, Qin Xiong was a rank 3 Eternal Realm expert. However, Bai Qinyu was able to face Qin He, Wu Xiao, and Song Hao without losing. She was naturally not an ordinary person. It's been a long time, but they haven't returned. There should be no more problems. Immediately, Chu Hen slowly stood up and scanned the quiet surroundings. Then, he transformed into a ray of light and disappeared from where he stood. After a while, Chu Hen returned to the valley where the fierce battle had taken place. The ground was a mess, and the air was still filled with traces of wild aura. Corpses were everywhere, and the corpses of various demonic beasts and human experts were scattered everywhere. At a glance, the vast valley was deathly silent. Only the valley wind blew past, emitting a whistling sound. Just when Chu Hen was preparing to leave, Xiao, a hurried afterimage flashed over. You're finally back. You really made me wait for a long time. The champion of the heavenly talisman battle. The disdainful laughter was full of complacency. Chu Hen frowned. The person who came was the genius of Zhongyuan Castle, Zhui Weihan. Waiting for me? What else? Zhui Weihan stood in the air and looked down at Chu Hen. Chu Hen couldn't help but find it funny. Was this guy looking for death? He clearly knew that he didn't like him, yet he still appeared in front of him so arrogantly. Wasn't he afraid that he would kill him with a single slap? However, Chu Hen had no intention of responding. He turned around and prepared to leave. You can leave now. If you leave, those two unlucky fellows will have their blood splattered all over this immortal and devil tomb. What did you say? Chu Hen's eyes turned cold as he stared coldly at Zhuo Han's smug smile. The latter spread his hands and shrugged. Hey, don't think that you're the only smart person in the world and that everyone else is a fool. I'm sorry to tell you that you've messed with the wrong person this time. If you want the two of them to live, then you'd better come with me obediently. After saying that, Zhui Weihan moved and plunged into the depths of the canyon. Chu Hen hesitated for a moment. Was this a trick? Or were Xiao Xiaowan and Hanizai really in their hands? After a brief moment of contemplation, Chu Hen's eyes darkened. He then stepped into the air and followed Zhui Weihan. The front and back of the Grand Canyon was surrounded by precipitous peaks. The straight peaks were like heavenly pillars that pierced through the clouds. Near the center of the tomb of the immortal and devil, there were many ancient buildings that had stood tall for thousands or even tens of thousands of years. There were palaces, pavilions, pagodas. Under the erosion of wind and rain, these ancient buildings gave off a sense of vicissitudes. Those bastards are all hiding and refusing to come out. In a vast ancient plaza, the surrounding stone steps were covered in moss green, and a few gloomy dark plants swayed in the cracks between the stones. On the highest level of the square, there were 200 to 300 human experts from different forces. The teams from Hanyun Sect, Qixao Pavilion, and Xinyang Palace were all here. Everyone's expressions were solemn as they stared at the sky above the northern region with deep gazes. That was the center of the immortal and devil tomb. It was also the place where the demon emperor had fallen. At this moment, the whole area was shrouded in a black sand fog. The fog was like a demonic barrier that covered the sky and the earth. It was like a layer of mysterious enchantment. No one dared to approach it, let alone barge in. The human experts had been chasing after them. For the time being, they could only stop and wait and see. Humph! If it weren't for these spies, we wouldn't have to wait here. A disciple of Qi Xiao Pavilion scolded. Everyone's eyes were focused on the center of the square. There were a few stone pillars that were hundreds of meters tall. They were carved with mysterious runes. A man and a woman were tied under two of the stone pillars. They were none other than Xiao Xiaowan and Han Ichuan. At this moment, they felt like they were facing thousands of people. Looking at the disdainful and angry eyes, they felt helpless and angry. It seems that the cowardly rat has abandoned you too. Why don't you tell me where he is, and I will consider letting you two go. Profound Yang Palace's Qin He's tone was full of ridicule. Hey, Han Ichuan sneered. I think you are mistaken. We are good people. Without any evidence, you tied us here. Your so-called aristocratic forces really know how to bully the weak. Hee, it's useless to be stubborn. Qin He smiled lightly. He then raised his left hand. Along with a wave of scorching power, a layer of golden light pattern rose from his arm. Those who are injured by the Sunflame hidden force will have their 8 extraordinary meridians damaged. In the future, not to mention cultivation, they might not even be able to stand steadily. Do you want to try? Everyone's expression changed slightly. They looked at Qin He with fear in their eyes. Han Ichuan, however, showed no fear. Ha ha ha, do you think I'm scared? Let me tell you, if you want to kill me, just do it. Don't talk nonsense. Oh, you're quite strong-willed. But your companion doesn't seem to be in a good state. Qin He glanced sideways at Xiao Xiaowan, who was tied to another stone pillar, with great interest. At this moment, Xiao Xiaowan's small face was tense, and she was breathing heavily. She looked drowsy, and her aura was inexplicably chaotic. It was like an irrepressible hostility. Han Ichuan was secretly anxious. This was not the first time he had seen such a situation. If Xiao Xiaowan exploded here, the consequences would be unimaginable. What should he do? Senior brother Qin He, I think you really misunderstood. At this time, the nervous Zheng Shu couldn't help but stand up. Qin He turned sideways and replied, Who are you? Zheng Shu looked at Wu Xiao of Han Yun's sect and said, I'm a registered disciple of Han Yun's sect. Oh? So, this matter is related to your Han Yun sect? Qin He asked Wu Xiao. The latter sneered and said, You think too much. Really? Qin He looked at Zheng Shu again, and his eyes were as sharp as the edge of a sword. Zheng Shu lost his confidence, as if he had been seen through. It seems that you are very familiar with them. Me? Zheng Shu stammered, not knowing what to do. Are you a spy too? No, I'm not. Zheng Shu became more and more nervous. Under the pressure of Qin He's aura, Zheng Shu was completely at a loss. Very good. Since you're a registered disciple of the Han Yun sect, I believe that you're not a spy. Then, Qin He paused for a moment, turned sideways, pointed at Han Ichuan, and said, You go and cut off his arms. What? Zheng Shu turned pale with fright. Senior brother Qin He, you? Qin He smiled very calmly, crossing his arms in front of him. If he still doesn't want to talk, take off his legs. I believe you won't let me down. After saying that, Qin He patted Zheng Shu on the shoulder. Zheng Shu was already panicking. He just wanted to defend Han Ichuan and Xiao Xiaowan, but he didn't expect that he would be crushed by Qin He before he could finish his words. Zheng Shu turned to Wu Xiao, as if he was asking for help. But Wu Xiao was also indifferent. Except for Su Lingzhu, who frowned slightly. The others looked as if they were watching a show. Come on. Anyway, these bastards won't let me go today. I'd better die in your hands. Han Ichuan was also very tough. But the more he was like this, the more uneasy Zheng Shu was. What? Can't do it? Qin He said with a gentle smile. Now, I'll give you 2 choices. Either take off his arms, or take off your own. Zheng Shu's face turned pale. Everyone present was also secretly shocked. This Qin, he was really ruthless. He was like an iron chain crossing the river, making people unable to advance or retreat. However, just as he finished speaking, a thunderous sound reverberated in the sky above the ancient square. These two choices are not good. I think it's better to take off your arms. Buzz. Chapter 1064. Neither of these two options is good. I think cutting off your arm is the most suitable. A thunder-like momentum swept across the sky above the ancient square like a tide. Together with the fierce wind and the cyclone, all the experts gathered here were startled. They looked up and saw a graceful shadow flying over from the direction of the canyon. His cold eyes were like swords, and his momentum was like a rainbow. Han Ichuan's heart was filled with joy. He turned to the side and shouted to Qiao Xiao, one who was not far away. "Girl, hold on a little longer. Chu Hen is coming." Qiao Xiaowan trembled slightly, and a trace of emotion appeared in her blank eyes. However, he still appeared to be half-conscious. This guy really dared to come back. A young disciple of the Han Yun sect shouted coldly. Everyone was also observing Chu Hen, this strange, uninvited guest. They couldn't help but feel puzzled. Is this guy the one who stopped Qin He from using the Lotus Sun to sense of the world? Is there a mistake? This guy's cultivation seems to be only at the 7th level of the profound sky realm. He hasn't even reached the ancient eternal realm. How could he resist the sun-flaming hidden energy? Didn't you hear what he said just now? He said he wanted to cut off Qin He's arm. Maybe the 7th level of the profound sky realm is just a facade. While many people were discussing below, Chu Hen walked in the air and stood high up in the sky. "Brother Chu Hen, you're finally here. Come and clarify this. This is all a misunderstanding," Zheng Shu said with a sincere sigh of relief. Chu Hen's eyes narrowed slightly. Looking at Zheng Shu, who still had anxiety on his face, he couldn't help but feel grateful. "Brother Zheng, this has nothing to do with you. You can leave now." "Okay." Zheng Shu nodded and immediately returned to the Han Yun Sect's team. Then, Chu Hen's eyes swept directly toward profound Sun Palace's Qin He. When their eyes met, an invisible sharp aura collided in the air. "Since the person you're looking for is me, please let go of my friend, he." Qin He grinned. His smile was full of sarcasm. "Very good. It's good that you're here. I was afraid that you would run away just like that. It was you who launched a sneak attack on me, wasn't it? The feeling of the sun flame, hidden force entering your body isn't bad, right?" Chu Hen raised his eyebrows. "What do you want?" "It's very simple." Qin He turned sideways and pointed at Han Ichuan and Qiao Xiaowan, who were tied to the stone pillar. Then, he shook his head at Chu Hen and chuckled. "As you said just now, if you can't cut off my arms, I will cut off their arms today. And your head, Buzz." An undisguised, cold, killing intent emanated from Qin He's body. It was obvious that the interruption of Lin Yang's descent had caused him to lose all his dignity. What he needed to do now was to regain all the dignity he had lost from Chu Hen. On the other side, Wu Xiu from the Han Yun sect and Song Hao from the Qixiao pavilion looked as if they were watching a show. The latter, in particular, had a lazy smile on his face as he said in a frivolous tone, "Don't be too ruthless. Keep him alive so that we can ask about the movements of those evil beasts from the demon clan." "Hey!" Qin He's eyes darkened as a majestic aura spread out. "I don't need you to teach me. Dragon, might divine palm." Rumble. The space vibrated. Without any room for discussion, Qin He made his move without another word. In an instant, a storm-like palm aura pierced the sky with crushing momentum and blasted toward Chu Hen. Humph! Since he couldn't avoid it, he might as well accompany him to the end. If it was only Qin He alone, it would not be enough to make Chu Hen afraid. Chi! Focusing his mind, Chu Hen's entire body shone with thunderous radiance. He swept across the sky and instantly turned into a beam of lightning. Boom! Clang! The ferocious palm aura and the violent thunderbolts collided wantonly. The sky was filled with sparks and airwaves. Chu Hen pierced through the storm-like palm aura like a giant thunderbolt sword. He slashed down with the power of lightning, stirring up a monstrous force, and slashed toward Qin He. This aura. The faces of the experts from the various forces changed, and they subconsciously retreated. Qin He's pupils shrank to the size of a needle tip, and a trace of coldness appeared between his eyebrows. Bang! The ground cracked, and rocks flew everywhere. The huge square suddenly caved in deeply, and a huge pit appeared. Surging air waves spread in all directions. Qin He's feet dragged on the ground, and he retreated more than 10 meters before he could stabilize his body. However, Chu Hen landed steadily on the ground. Electric arcs flashed between his palms and arms, which looked like blue, dazzling light. For the first time in a head-on confrontation, Chu Hen had the upper hand. It had to be said that everyone was quite surprised. This guy is quite capable. No wonder he dares to challenge Qin He. Maybe there will be some changes. Humph! Don't be happy too early. Qin He's face darkened. He moved his feet and dashed out like a bolt of lightning. Chu Hen's cold eyes flickered, and the electric arcs under his body spread out like a blue spider web. When Qin He approached, the dense electric arcs quickly shrouded him. In the next instant, Chu Hen flipped over and gave a heavy kick in the air, landing a solid kick on his opponent's chest. Bang! A heavy, muffled sound rang out. A circle of vigorous air waves surged out, and Qin He was sent flying like a sandbag. What? 2 consecutive setbacks instantly caused everyone present to be extremely astonished. What was going on? Did Qin He underestimate his opponent? Or was there another reason? Wu Xiu's and Song Hao's faces were also filled with caution. At the same time, the genius disciples of the profound Sun Palace, who saw that Qin He was at a disadvantage twice, did not say anything. They drew their swords and attacked Chu Hen. Presumptuous. Take him down. Humph. Chu Hen snorted lightly. He put his palms together, and the power that he had been accumulating burst out instantly. Thousand thunder escape. Bang! In an instant, bolts of astonishing lightning bolts were like sharp wooden stakes that pierced through the earth. They shot up in all directions and intertwined with each other on the public square. The restless and restless power shook the heaven and earth. The profound Yang Palace's disciples turned pale with fright as their formation was thrown into chaos. All of them were blocked by the lightning pillar. What? Do all the so-called big sects like to bully others with numbers? Chu Hen sneered coldly. Get out of my way. Qin He, who was high up in the sky, shouted angrily with a gloomy face, I'll take your cheap life. Don't think about interfering. It was obvious that Qin He was really angry. His anger was rising steadily. His killing intent couldn't be suppressed. Along with it, a golden radiance gushed out from his body. Scorching air waves covered the sky and covered the earth. Qin He spread out his arms, and circles of golden light vortexes rapidly coiled around his palms like light vines. Buzz. Buzz. The restless power caused the space to tremble. Under the shocked gazes of many people below, a golden light wheel condensed in Qin He's palms. The edge of the light wheel was covered with sharp teeth. The holy light radiated like 2 golden wheels of the sun. Chapter 1065. Buzz. The extremely restless energy caused the space to tremble. Qin He opened his arms, and a dazzling light burst out from his body like the sun. Beams of golden light swirled like wings of holy light, and an astonishing, majestic true origin quickly gathered in his palms. In an instant, 2 reddish-gold scorching sun wheels appeared in the sky. Looking at the 2 golden wheels, which were like 2 giant discs and were extremely sharp, everyone's faces showed a bit of fear. Everyone could feel the anger and killing intent bursting out from Qin He's body. Qin He's going to fight for real. But that guy doesn't look scared at all. Where did this guy come from? He doesn't look weak at all. A fierce battle broke out in an instant. There was no unnecessary negotiation. Zheng Shu was very anxious. He thought that Chu Hen had come to clear up the misunderstanding. He didn't expect that after a few words, Chu Hen would attack directly. Qin He, who had already lost face, flew into a rage. You can't change anything. When Zheng Shu didn't know what to do, Su Lingzu, who was beside him, said calmly. Zheng Shu was startled. Miss Su Yu? Hee, that's right. Zhui Wehan, who had also returned to the Hanyan sex team, said with a complacent smile, You'd better not be meddlesome. Be careful, or you'll lose your life in vain like that idiot. Humph, he really thinks that he could do whatever he wants just because he has the power of the Xian Sha divine thunder. Zheng Shu frowned, and his face showed a bit of disgust. Su Lingzu didn't say anything more. She lifted her beautiful eyes and looked at the two young figures in front of her, who had a shocking aura. The same arrogance, the same sharpness, and the same arrogance. The real battle starts now? The brilliant, star-like holy light lit up the sky. Qinyi looked down at Chu Hen coldly. Humph, you scoundrels who only know how to sneak attack. Die. Buzz. Along with the surging airwaves that whistled through the world, the two golden wheels of the scorching sun directly turned into a giant wheel of wind and fire that pierced through the sky. One after the other, one from the left and one from the right, they slashed down towards Chu Hen with a rotating momentum. Chu Hen's eyes narrowed slightly. His figure moved like a bolt of lightning. With a loud bang, the first wind-fire golden will hit the ground of the square like a gear. The violent impact caused the earth to crack. Cracks that were 100 meters deep extended out like a spiderweb. Before the crowd had the time to marvel at Qin He's strength, the second golden wheel drew a red arc along the ground the moment it hit the ground. Like a meteor that had been traveling back thousands of years, it swept up a scorching solar storm and chased after Chu Hen. Chu Hen furrowed his brows. He wanted to save Han Ichuan and Xiao Xiaowan first, but Qin He was not going to let him go. Immediately, a cold light flashed in his eyes. He spread his fingers in the air. With a crisp sound, a saber shining with silver holy light appeared in Chu Hen's hand. The TNI saber on the holy weapon ranking. Someone nearby uttered the name of the saber. Sizzle, the violent electric arcs crisscrossed rapidly and surrounded the saber. The TNI saber immediately shone brilliantly. Holding the saber with both hands, Chu Hen swung it horizontally toward the wind-fire golden wheels that were whistling toward him. Rumble. The 3,000 volts of lightning had a monstrous aura. During the extremely short process of dragging the saber, the silver light surrounding the TNI saber expanded rapidly and condensed rapidly. In an instant, it was as if Chu Hen was holding a heaven-splitting divine saber that was 4 to 5 meters long. The light was dazzling and dazzling. Boom! As if a divine rainbow had struck the sun, the red light exploded in the sky. Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, the light wheel was directly split into two and split from the middle. The wantonly surging energy was like waves and tides. With eyes blazing like torches, Chu Hen dragged the TNI saber and rushed toward Qin He. Roar! A tiger's roar shook the heaven and earth. Suddenly, the shadow of a white saber-toothed tiger appeared behind Chu Hen, and a majestic pressure that was almost tangible pressed toward Qin He. Chu Hen brandished his saber, and a 1,000-foot saber light slashed the sky obliquely, sweeping toward Qin He like a blade of heavenly light. Hey, just in time. Qin He sneered. His palms were facing each other, and clusters of golden light gathered in front of him and spun rapidly. Like a whirlpool of fire clouds that was rapidly taking shape, a surging fireball with a diameter of 100 meters appeared in front of Qin He. Qin He pushed his arms forward, and the fireball pierced through the sky and fell like a scorching sun. Bang! The saber light and the fireball intersected, and suddenly, the sky exploded. The violent energy that erupted from the explosion was like a concentrated cloud of fire. The powerful shock waves spread out in the sky, mixed with a formless and fierce energy fluctuation. Be careful of the sun-flaming hidden force. Retreat quickly. The human experts on the plaza below all retreated to avoid being caught in the crossfire. Layers of fiery clouds blotted out the sky and covered the earth. Wherever the fiery clouds reached, the sun-burning hidden force would attack. In an instant, the area within a radius of over 1,000 meters with Qin He as the center, was filled with a dark red glow. "Humph! Let's see where you can hide." Qin He sneered disdainfully. However, as soon as he finished speaking, a purple flame suddenly rose from the sky and spread all over the place. "This is—" Everyone's eyelids twitched, and they were shocked. Even Wu Xiao of the Han Yun sect and Song Hao of the Equal Heaven Pavilion were surprised. When the bewitching purple flames came into contact with the pure golden flames, the latter was actually directly devoured. Everyone knew how overbearing the sun-scorching hidden force of the profound Sun Palace was. It was different from a real flame. Ordinary flames only burned the outer body, while the sun-scorching hidden force hurt the internal organs. Most of the time, people were afraid of the disciples of the profound Sun Palace. However, it seemed that this strange purple flame was even more overbearing than the sun-scorching hidden force. The area covered by the golden aura was shrinking rapidly, but the purple flame was spreading faster and faster. Qin He had attacked many times, but he still couldn't defeat Chu Hen. Qin He's eyes were filled with intense coldness and gloom. The best part is yet to come. Buzz. The wind blew, and the clouds surged. A scorching aura that filled the heavens and the earth once again poured over the earth, and dazzling beams of light pierced through the clouds in the sky and fell down. The dazzling light made the pupils of the people below shrink to the size of a needle. Could it be again? Such a powerful energy fluctuation. It can't be wrong. It's going to happen again. The sky trembled slightly, and a light shone brightly. Tens of thousands of beams of golden light fell and gathered into a huge golden lotus. The lotus was facing down, and the bud had not bloomed yet. It was like a star, like a divine sun. The endless light was like a sharp sword energy, and everyone felt a stinging pain on their skin. Qin He looked at Chu Hen with an indifferent face, and a hideous smile appeared on his face. Chapter 1066. Since you're the one who let that woman go, then, now, it's your turn to bear the power of this move. A cold and indifferent voice came out of Qin He's mouth. The sky trembled, and a dazzling light shone on the 9 heavens. Looking at the giant golden lotus that appeared in the sky once again, everyone present could not help but be moved. It was like the stars, like the sun, and even more like the blazing sun. The endless light was like countless sharp sword energies, and everyone below felt a faint prickling pain on their skin. The aurora shone down, and the sky above the huge ancient square became a blind spot. Everything in the world was shrouded in the tide-like light. Chu Hen's figure was reduced to an outline, and it was as if he would be swallowed by the light in the next second. Hani Chuan, who was tied to the stone pillar in the square, frowned, and his pupils shrunk to the size of a needle. He turned to look at Xiao Shaowan, who was still in a daze, and could not help but feel a little anxious. "Girl, what's wrong with you? Hang in there." Xiao Shaowan lifted her head weakly and said weakly, This place has... This place? Hani Chuan was shocked and confused. What was he talking about? Buzz. Accompanied by an extremely restless and powerful aura. The giant golden lotus that was like the sun released a destructive aura that made people's hearts palpitate. At the same time, the tightly closed flower bud bloomed at a speed visible to the naked eye. One by one, the petals bloomed. Every time a petal bloomed, Qin He's aura grew stronger. Shrouded in light, he stood proudly in the sky. He showed his intimidating divine might. Using the lotus sun descends to the world to kill him is really a waste. In the Hanyan sex team, Zhui Weihan laughed coldly and proudly. Zheng Shu, who was beside him, frowned and retorted unhappily. You're talking as if you, Zhui Weihan, have the ability to defeat Brother Chu Hen. What did you say? Zhui Weihan's face darkened. Who do you think you are? How dare you point your fingers at me? I'm just telling the truth. At least you, Zhui Weihan, don't even have the qualifications to make Qin He display the lotus sun descending to the world. Needless to say, Zheng Shu had surprised Zhui Weihan today. In the past, the other party would never have dared to talk back to him. If the people of Hanyin sect were not around, Zhui Weihan would have given Zheng Shu a slap. His gaze immediately turned cold, and he suppressed his anger as he replied, "Jungle weed, don't think too highly of yourself. Otherwise, you'll suffer in the future." Zheng Shu gritted his teeth. He naturally knew what the other party was talking about. Zhui Weihan and Su Lingzhu were the official disciples of the Hanyin sect, but he was only a disciple in name. Even if he entered the Hanyin sect in the future, he would still be bullied and ostracized. Clang! All of a sudden, a deafening sound of thunder exploded in the void. All the people present were shocked. In an instant, the sky that was covered by the reddish-gold light burst out a dark blue pillar of lightning. Rumble! The wind was as fast as lightning, and the sky was shaking. The wind howled angrily, and the clouds in the sky were tumbling like waves. Bolts of lightning that were as strong as thunder dragons dashed down with shocking momentum. It was like a punishment from the gods. The reddish-gold light screen was pushed back quickly. The dark blue lightning shone on the other side of the world. Chu Hen's eyes were like torches, and he looked at Qin He coldly. "I'm afraid you can't perform your moves again." Qin He looked disdainful. "Ha, I'll try." As soon as he finished speaking, Chu Hen instantly turned into a bolt of lightning and leaped into the sky in a higher area. Clang! At the same time, giant bolts of lightning with magnificent momentum pierced through the sky. They were like a group of dragons gathering, and they gathered at one point. The wind and clouds roared, and 3,000 divine thunders moved together. Sizzle! Sizzle! The wild noise intertwined like thousands of thunderbirds spreading their wings and crying. When the horrible thunder and lightning intertwined, the light shone brightly and rapidly pierced through the sky like the Milky Way in the ninth heaven. Then, at the center of the endless power of the tribulation thunder, a piercingly cold, sharp light attacked, and a domineering trident suddenly appeared between heaven and earth. That is, everyone's expression changed. Even Wu Xiao of the Hanyin sect, Song Hao of the Qixiao Pavilion, and the others couldn't help but narrow their eyes. The trident was crystal clear and glittering with blue light, as if it was condensed from the essence of the power of thunder and lightning. Layers of flowing black thunder patterns surrounded the body of the trident, and it swept through the sky. Chu Hen was like an ancient wizard spirit that controlled the tribulation thunder, and his whole body emitted a destructive aura. His body moved, and he directly swept to the side of the trident. He held the body of the trident with both hands, and then he swooped down as if he was holding a lightning pillar that could support the sky and directly attacked Qin He in front of him. The wind was as fast as lightning, and the lightning dazzled the sky. Between heaven and earth, there were streaks of lightning and thunder that bloomed. At the same time, the golden lotus behind Qin He had already bloomed its last petal, and a cold and proud smile appeared on his face. You still can't stop me." Lotus sun descends. Wow! The radiant sun-like light immediately erupted, and a scorching aura erupted like a volcano, and a terrifying golden light pillar was released from it. At the same time, Chu Hen suddenly rushed in front of his opponent, and the trident in his hand was covered with dazzling thunder patterns. The intertwining thunder and lightning divine light seemed to be connected to the ninth heaven electric net, heavenly light. "Blade!" Chu Hen shouted, and traces of thunder and lightning jumped in his eyes. Heavenly light blade, thunder and lightning towering sky. Clang! Boom! Under the astonished gazes of everyone present, the lightning trident that pierced through the sky was like a beam of divine punishment descending from the heavens as it firmly collided with the huge golden lotus. The tribulation thunder and the radiant sun collided. Two destructive forces unexpectedly met at this moment. An unprecedented violent force exploded in the void like a nebulous tsunami. The majestic and surging waves of air swept out in all directions with earth-shattering force. The ground of the square below cracked continuously, and the surrounding mountains were swept away. Many ancient buildings were flattened by the storm. Many human experts retreated repeatedly, and all of them frowned, and their hearts were stretched taut. Lightning arcs flew everywhere, and lightning shot in all directions. The reddish-gold firestorm spread recklessly. In the chaotic waves of air and light, everyone could only vaguely see the silhouettes of two figures in the void. This guy? He actually blocked the Lotus Sun descends. How can this be? He's only at the 7th level of the profound heaven realm. Shock. Absolute shock. Even Wu Xiao and Song Hao couldn't help but frown. At this moment, they felt very pressured. The power of the Lotus Sun descends was so strong, but Chu Hen actually met it head-on, and he didn't seem to be at a disadvantage at all. How strong was this? Divine Light Blade. Back at Mount Kunliu, before leaving the victorious East State, Chu Hen learned one of the 2 martial arts related to the power of thunder and lightning from the scroll left behind by Li Wuxian. One was the Thousand Thunder Escape, and the other was the Divine Light Blade. When these 2 martial arts were used together with the mysterious killer Divine Lightning, the power that erupted was also astonishing. Before everyone could recover from the shock, the sky that was filled with chaotic power suddenly blossomed with a dazzling divine radiance. Star Soul, 7 critical strike, what? Everyone's heart suddenly trembled. Buzz! The space shook, and in an instant, a solid silver pillar of light pierced through the sky. Like a shocking rainbow, it retreated from the hands of the figure above and heavily hit the figure below. Bang! An incomparably loud sound reverberated in the sky. The silver pillar of light was like the Milky Way, directly striking the figure down. The unparalleled power fell like a falling star. Everyone's expression changed drastically, and their eyes widened. Oh my God, it's Qin He. Chapter 1067. Oh my God, it's Qin He. How is this possible? An incomparably heavy and violent vibration broke out in the sky. Under the shocked gazes of everyone present, the silver light beam that pierced through the sky hit Qin He's body like the Milky Way. Bang! A powerful and majestic aura swept across the sky. Qin He was directly hit by the solid light beam in the void. The unshakable force oppressed him like a mountain. Qin He almost had to bear all of the force. The golden-red protective true essence covering his body suddenly shattered into pieces. Qin He's face changed dramatically. He tried to escape from the pressure of this shockwave. However, the force that came down on him made him unable to move. Boom! In the next moment, the dazzling starlight pillar bombarded Qin He like a shocking rainbow, and he fell on the ancient square below. The earth exploded, the heavenly stars shattered, the mountains collapsed, and the earth cracked. The powerful silver light beam pierced into the square like a divine sword, and a violent shock wave instantly broke out from it. The huge pit was like the abyssal mouth of a giant beast, rapidly expanding. Countless deep cracks extended to the surroundings. Fragments of rocks were blown up, along with the powerful chi waves splashing in all directions. The Taoist platforms on the square collapsed one after another. The stone pillars erected on the highest Taoist platform also collapsed and shattered one after another. Han Ichuan's eyes turned cold, and a vigorous aura burst out from his body. Bang! The iron chain that wrapped around his body immediately broke into several pieces. Then, Han Ichuan quickly flashed to the side of Qiao Shaowan. He stretched out one hand and clasped the iron chain on her body like an eagle's claw and pulled it back. Ding! The chain on Qiao Shaowan's body was once again untied. Han Ichuan supported Qiao Shaowan's waist with both hands, and his feet moved in the air, immediately leaping to the side of Chu Hen in the void. I'm sorry, I've caused you trouble again, Han Ichuan said apologetically. Chu Hen shook his head. I'm the one who should say sorry. We can't stay here for long. Let's leave quickly. As far as Han Ichuan was concerned, although Chu Hen had defeated Qin He, there was still Wu Xiao of Hanyan sect and Song Hao of Qixiao Pavilion. If they stayed here, they would be the ones to suffer losses in the end. However, as soon as he finished speaking, 2 hurried whooshing sounds came flying over. 2 swift and fierce young figures directly blocked the path of Chu Hen and the other 2. What a surprising fellow. However, if you want to leave just like that, aren't you looking down on us a little too much? Even Heaven Pavilion's song how raise his right hand, and a string of demonic red light intertwined and flowed in front of his arm, immediately condensing into a sharp, curved, bloody blade. Hanyan Sex Wuxiu smiled faintly. Of course, we still have to thank you. We have long since found this arrogant fellow an eyesore. Looking at the two high-spirited people in front of him, Chu Hen was expressionless. I'm afraid the two of you can't stop me. Oh, Song Hao and Wu Xiu glanced at each other. The former sneered, Hee, why don't you give a try? Senior brother Song Hao. Senior brother Wu Xiu. At this moment, Han Yun's sex and even Heaven Pavilion's disciples all cried out in confusion. At the same time, the human experts present were also in a state of chaos. Rumble. The collapse of the ancient plaza below did not stop. Layer after layer of buildings collapsed. Starting from the huge pit that had just sunk, it was like a layer of mud that had been broken by the undercurrent of the Yellow River. The huge plaza was collapsing from the center at a speed visible to the naked eye. The pit in the middle was getting bigger and bigger, and its range was expanding rapidly. It was like a giant beast from the abyss that was devouring the earth. In the blink of an eye, the entire plaza disappeared completely. However, the collapse of the earth continued. The ancient buildings that had existed for a long time collapsed one after another and disappeared. Even the precipitous peaks and cliffs sank into the ground one after another. Very quickly, the originally huge sky platform became a huge ravine in the blink of an eye. Just when the crowd did not know what had happened, the sky above the nine heavens was suddenly filled with black fog. Waves of strong and dark aura came from the huge ravine below. The cold wave of air was like a cold current from the netherworld. Everyone's expression changed, and many of them revealed nervous expressions. Xiao Xiaoan curled up in Han Ichuan's arms. Her small face was slightly pale, and her tone was filled with anxiety. Good, strong, evil aura, rumble. Immediately after, the earth continued to shake. Waves of dark and evil aura gushed out from the ravine below and shot up into the sky. Everyone's heart surged with a trace of a bad premonition. There seemed to be a strange, ethereal, dreamy rhythm spreading between heaven and earth. It was like the evil laughter of a demon dancing. Accompanied by the rumbling sound of the earth quaking, clouds of black fog rose up. Within the black fog, there were giant stone statues. Looking at these stone statues rising from the ground, the expressions of everyone present changed greatly. Even Wu Xiu's and Song Hao's pupils shrank slightly. Each stone statue was hundreds of feet tall. They had ferocious faces, and their appearance was terrifying. They had ferocious faces, fangs, claws, and dragon scales. They were like Azura demons from hell. Some had wings on their backs, holding tridents in their hands, and roaring at the sky. Some were prostrating on the ground, stretching out their sharp arms, and looking at the demonic dragons in the sky. There were also lizard men with lizard heads, human bodies, and giant tails. Strange, ferocious, even more ferocious. There were a total of 24 stone statues. These are all demons. Someone in the crowd cried out in alarm. Everyone furrowed their brows. Demons. Demons. They were the representatives of slaughter, synonymous with evil. Wait, 24. Are these the 24 blood demon guards under the command of Yama King? What? Yama King? Hearing these 3 words, everyone's expression changed again and again. Thousands of years ago, a 3-way war broke out in the Immortal and Devil Tomb. The human clan lost more than a dozen experts, and the demon clan's Yama King and a demon clan's great emperor fell here. Now, the 24 blood demons under the command of Yama King had reappeared here. Did this mean that this place might be the place where Yama King was buried? The sky darkened, and the sky changed color. Looking at the ferocious stone statues, everyone's heart trembled, and a chill ran down their spines. They felt that they were not statues, but living creatures. Look, Qin, he is over there, a human expert shouted. Chapter 1068. Heaven and earth changed, and the sky darkened. The fierce battle between Chu Hen and Qin, he seemed to have triggered a mysterious ancient restriction that had been silent for thousands of years. The earth caved in. It was as if a sleeping giant beast had awakened, devouring the square, buildings, mountains, and rivers. The mountains collapsed, and the earth cracked. The huge, ancient square sank into the ground in the blink of an eye. Even the surrounding mountains and rock walls seemed to have fallen into the quicksand of the Yellow River. Just when everyone was stunned, something even more shocking happened. Giant stone statues that were more than 100 jong tall rose from the deep ravines like bamboo shoots after the rain, ice cold, brutal, and murderous. All kinds of negative and chilly auras surged out like a tide. Looking at those ferocious and horrifying stone statues, everyone felt their hearts tremble, and a chill ran down their spines. It was as if they had arrived at the limitless hell. These are the 24 blood demon guards under the limitless king. A voice filled with shock spread through the crowd. Everyone's expression changed again and again. Limitless king. These 3 words were as frightening as a plague. Look, Qin He is there. Suddenly, someone cried out in alarm. Everyone's gazes immediately focused on a single point. They saw a miserable figure covered in blood hanging on the back of a stone statue. On the brink of death from afar, it was a ferocious demon with the appearance of a saber-toothed dragon. It had 4 claws like a dragon, and its whole body was covered with dense scales. Qin He's aura was weak as he lay next to a saber tooth on the back of the stone statue. His blood flowed along the grooves on the stone statue and slowly spread out. From afar, the scarlet blood patterns looked like ancient runes that were faintly flowing. It was unknown if it was because his injuries were too severe, but Qin He looked very thin and weak at this moment. It gave people an extremely uncomfortable feeling, as if he had lost a large amount of life, force, and blood essence. Senior brother Qin He, we're coming. The disciples of the profound Sun Palace didn't hesitate too much. They stepped on the air and flew toward Qin He's location. Qin He's eyelids opened slightly. His dim pupils revealed a trace of helplessness and desire. He looked at his companions flying towards him. His lips moved slightly as if he wanted to say something, but his voice was very soft and pitiful. Just as they were about to reach Qin He, an extremely restless aura suddenly permeated the air. It was as if an evil force that had been dormant for 1,000 years had suddenly awakened. The ravine, which was already filled with surging waves of air, was now filled with raging astral winds that swept in all directions. Buzz! The space around them trembled violently, and a dazzling dark red radiance suddenly burst out in front of the profound Yang Palace disciples. Caught off guard, the few people's expressions changed. Before he could react, a violent force surged toward him. Bang, bang, bang. The few of them were hit by the heavy force, causing their blood to churn. They spat out mouthfuls of blood one after another. Then, heaven and earth trembled, and the wind howled. Streaks of eye-catching red light patterns blossomed on the stone statue. Kacha, the huge pillar beneath the stone statue, seemed to have been struck by a powerful force and instantly cracked into countless pieces. What was even more shocking was that the surface of the stone statue was actually covered in dense cracks and fine lines. What? Everyone present was greatly alarmed. Their faces were filled with bewilderment and shock. It can't be coming back to life, right? What nonsense are you talking about? It has been dead for thousands of years and has long rotted into a pile of bones. How can it be resurrected? Woo! In the next second, an extremely ear-piercing whistle reverberated in the huge ravine. Under the disbelieving gazes of the hundreds of human experts present, the ferocious stone statue with the appearance of a saber-toothed evil dragon actually slowly stood up. Its sturdy dragon arm rose into the sky, and a blood-red light beam blossomed from the cracks on the surface of the stone wall. At this moment, it was as if the whole world was trembling. Those who offend His Highness Senluo die. Its momentum was earth-shattering, like thunder. In the sky above the ninth heaven, the lightning tribulation interweaved. Under everyone's widened gazes, the stone wall covering the stone statue's surface fell piece by piece. Pieces of dense black scales were exposed in the air. Its body, which was 100 jong tall, rose to the sky. The monstrous demon chi that had been silent for thousands of years erupted like a tsunami. Profound Yang Palace's Qin, he was directly sent flying. A few Profound Yang Palace's disciples hurriedly went forward to help, but they were also bombarded by the fierce power into a mountain wall in the area behind them. Rocks collapsed, and the power that smashed into them directly destroyed half of the mountain wall. The ferocious Qi wreaked havoc in the world. The 100 jong tall demonic body displayed a world-shaking momentum. It really came back to life. Oh my God, what the hell is going on? Uneasiness and shock surged in everyone's hearts. All the human experts tightly grasped the weapons in their hands, and their expressions were incomparably grave. Don't panic. Han Yin-sek's Wu Xiao didn't lose the demeanor of a powerful force at this moment. Although he was quite shocked, he wasn't a loss. He shouted loudly. This should have triggered some kind of restriction of the demon race, which caused them to temporarily come back to life. But it's definitely not the blood demon guards from back then. Let's not panic. That's right. Heaven Gathering Pavilion song How also echoed loudly. It's just a mere blood demon guard. What's there to be afraid of? It had to be said that Wu Xiao and Song How were like a pill that calmed everyone's minds. That's right. With the two of them here, we don't have to worry at all. Who cares if it's a blood demon that has come back to life? Let's kill it again. Attack. The human experts who had calmed their minds didn't say anything else. One after another, they burst forth with powerful true origin energy and charged towards the evil dragon blood demon. Evil creature, die. Continue to be sealed underground. Zung. Buzz. Dazzling true origin energy beams pierce through the sky like divine rainbows and clouds, directly blasting towards the 100 jong tall giant demon. The demonic demon's eyes turned cold, and like a crocodile staring at its prey, it straightened up into thin sheets. It was extremely indifferent and emotionless, so cold that there was no emotion in it at all. Facing the fierce attack that covered the sky and covered the earth, its huge body burst forth with a dazzling bloody light. Then it opened its huge mouth that was filled with fangs. Bang! The space trembled, and a powerful bloody red light beam shot out from its mouth. The impact wave formed by the piercingly cold bloody light beam was like a giant sword that pierced through the void. The attacks that were charging towards it were directly smashed into pieces. The human experts in the center didn't even have the chance to scream before they were blasted into a bloody mist in an instant. What a terrifying power. On the other side, Chu Hen's pupils shrank slightly, and his face was solemn. Then, the evil dragon blood demon swept its huge tail across the sky like a chain sweeping across the river. Bang, bang, bang. The human experts felt as if they were hit by a mountain. They spat out mouthfuls of blood and were sent flying. Retreat. The injured people didn't dare to continue fighting, and they hurriedly retreated. However, in the next second, a sharp giant claw that was covered in black scales directly reached over. A black shadow covered the top of their heads, and the giant claw was like a huge net, directly grabbing the few people firmly in its palm. Damn it! The few people were extremely frightened, and they struggled with all their might. Along with an incomparably sharp, cold laugh, the evil dragon blood demon extended its giant claw, which was grabbing the few human experts, to the top of another stone statue of a merman with a pair of wings on its back. Bang! Several heavy muffled sounds were stacked together, and miserable screams stopped abruptly. Then, like a fountain, blood directly sprayed out from the evil dragon blood demon's palm. In an instant, they were crushed into a pile of minced meat. How cruel! Such a method sent chills down people's spines. The scarlet blood then dyed the other stone statue below it red. The blood spread, and lines of bloody patterns lit up. Like ancient secret talismans, the surface of the stone statue quietly cracked open, and the cracks spread all over its body. Streaks of bloody light shot out from the cracks. Chapter 1069. Bang! The blood-curdling screech came to an abrupt end in an instant. Warm scarlet blood spurted out from the palm of the dragon blood devil like a fountain and directly sprinkled on the other ferocious devil stone statue below. Everyone's facial expression changed drastically. Such a cruel method sent chills down their spines. They trembled in fear. Then, something even more terrifying happened. Blood spread across the surface of the stone statue like vines from hell. It was as if ancient runes had been awakened. Along with the cracks that opened up, rays of blood-red light shot out from them. Another wave of ferocious demonic aura spread in all directions. It shook violently and engulfed the entire valley once again. Ha! Woo! The sky and earth were filled with demonic screams. 2 of the 24 blood demon guards had been resurrected in an instant. Everyone's heart was filled with shock and unease. What about the other 22? Once they were all awakened, the consequences would be unimaginable. Don't just stand there. Let's attack together and stop them. Hurry up. Don't wait for the other blood demons to be resurrected. Although everyone was shocked, they couldn't back down now. No one knew if the other stone statues would be resurrected. They didn't know what the consequences would be. The only thing they could do now was to stop the situation from worsening. Swish! Wuxio of the Hanyun sect didn't say anything. He flew out like a sharp arrow. His eyes turned cold and his aura surged. He put his palms together and clasped his fingers together. He shouted, "Cloud Pagoda, buzz, buzz." The 9 heavens trembled. Wind and thunder rolled. A majestic aura like that of a mountain descended from the sky. A black shadow covered the sky. An ancient pagoda emitting a transcendent aura broke through the clouds. It pierced through the blue dome of heaven and directly pressed down on the evil dragon blood devil below. Bang! The sky and earth suddenly lost their color. A powerful cyclone surged in the sky. The dragon blood demon's huge body shook violently, and its head, which was raised high, was pressed down hard. Although its aura was weakened, it couldn't move an inch. It was still arrogant and furious. It lifted the huge pagoda and roared at the sky. Woo! His ferocious aura shook the heavens. The black scales on his body were tightly connected, and a dense blood-red radiance erupted from his body. Kacha! The suppressive speed of the pagoda in the clouds was immediately halted, and deep cracks extended from the bottom to the top of the pagoda. Wuxio's brows furrowed tightly as he tried his best to stabilize the cloud tower. Song Hao, I don't need you to remind me. Along with the slightly dissatisfied counterattack, white afterimages flashed in the air. The afterimage leaped and flashed like a ghost. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the blink of an eye, Song had already arrived in front of the evil dragon blood devil without anyone noticing. Song Hao raised a sharp arm blade in his hand and revealed a sinister smile as he looked at the 1,000-feet-tall giant demon that was pinned down by the cloud pagoda. Continue to sleep. Evil spawn of the devil race. Weeping ghost blade. Whoosh. A resonant and sharp light whistled through the air as Song Hao raised his hand and suddenly stabbed forward. In an instant, a blood-red beam of light from the blade of the sword was like a divine rainbow that pierced through the sky, and it showed the power of destruction. The evil dragon blood devil's thin pupils flashed with a cold light. Bang! With a dull sound, the blood-red sword light beam pierced through the center of the evil dragon blood devil's chest like the Aurora greatsword that Song Hao had thrust out of his hand. A piercingly cold wave of air gushed out from the evil dragon blood devil's back, which was covered in sharp teeth. Broken scales and dark red blood spurted out. Good job. As expected of the elites of the Hanyun sect and the Heaven Condensing Pavilion. Well done. Wuxio and Song Hao's cooperation could be said to be perfect. The success of the two's attacks immediately boosted the confidence of the human experts. Rumble. However, just when everyone was excited, the half-man, half-fish merman blood devil had already burst out with a majestic demonic aura. All the stone fragments that covered its body exploded and shattered. Different from the evil dragon blood devil, the merman blood devil's body was pure white and silver. Its scales all over its body shone, and it exuded a cool aura. Screech! The ugly big fish opened its head and let out a shrill scream. The invisible sharp sound wave continuously attacked everyone's eardrums, causing them to feel dizzy. Then, the earth shook, the mountains shook, and the torrent roared. A monstrous tsunami waterfall came from the back of that mermaid blood devil without any warning. What? Everyone's expression changed. Before they could do anything, the surging waterfall was like a raging sea that broke through a dam. It swept all the way down, like a tide of thousands of ferocious beasts, and smashed the human experts in front of it into a mess. The violent waterfall was ferocious, and it could be said to be able to topple mountains and overturn seas. Even Wu Xiao and Song Hao could only choose to retreat. The two of them immediately broke away from the battle with the evil dragon blood devil, and each turned into a beam of light. Boom! Almost at the same time, the giant tower in the clouds that was suppressing the evil dragon blood devil exploded into thousands of pieces. Roar! The evil dragon blood devil leaped up and once again stood upright with a shocking aura. Everyone's expression changed again and again. It still didn't die. Wu Xiao and Song Hao looked at each other, and they could not help but frown. That attack just now had definitely hit its vitals. Even if it did not die instantly, it would definitely not be able to get up. However, that was not the case. Isn't the demon clan's vitality too terrifying? Han Ichuan, who had retreated from the battle, could not help but shake his head and sigh. Then, he turned to Chu Hen and said, "It's better for us to leave while these people don't have time to care about us." The corner of Chu Hen's eyes slightly narrowed. His gaze was fixed on the fierce and chaotic battle in front of him, as well as the over 20 ferocious and domineering stone statues. After a short moment of contemplation, he said, "You guys leave first." Why? Han Ichuan did not understand. Now is the best time to leave. Do you still want to care about these people's lives? Chu Hen shook his head. There should be other secrets here. I'll stay a little longer and see if I can find any clues about Meng Cheng's whereabouts. This was already the center of the immortal and devil tomb. If the spatial devouring tunnel in the Xian Shao region was connected to the immortal and devil tomb, it was very likely to be in this area. Although the current situation was extremely chaotic, Chu Hen was not willing to let go of even the slightest possibility. I understand. You must be careful. Han Ichuan nodded and immediately retreated with Xiao Xiaowan. They were not afraid of trouble, but they both knew that in this situation, they would only be a burden to Chu Hen. Rumble. The flood swept past, and the formation of the human experts was immediately thrown into disarray. Everyone's expression was incomparably grave. Just 2 blood demon guards were enough to make them flustered. It was hard to imagine just how terrifying the 24 blood demons were at their peak. Kiki, before everyone could calm down, the dragon blood demon stretched out its long and sharp limbs and climbed onto another stone statue like a giant lizard. It was a stone statue in the shape of a ferocious tiger. Its body was cold, and it emitted a formless, murderous aura. What was it trying to do? Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Then, everyone's pupils shrank. The evil dragon blood demon actually tore open the wound on its chest. Dark red blood flowed out like a small stream filled with plague virus, dripping down and flowing down. It quietly spread across the stone statue. Chapter 1070. What? Looking at the scene before them, all the experts present turned deathly pale. The dragon blood devil stretched its 4 long and sharp limbs. It was like a giant lizard crawling on a stone statue in the shape of a ferocious tiger. The scythe-like claws directly tore open the wound on his chest. The dark red blood was like a spring full of plague and poison. It dripped down and slowly blossomed on the stone statue below it. The space shook and the sky shook. Everyone's mind trembled at the same time. Gotcha! Cracks began to spread on the surface of the ferocious tiger statue. The demonic red light patterns glowed with a dazzling light. The dragon blood devil lifted its head and looked at Wu Xiao, Song Hao, and the others in front of it. The corners of its mouth curled up, revealing a devilish smile. Buzz! A terrifying, murderous aura emanated from the ferocious tiger statue. Along with the falling pieces of the stone wall, an extremely strong, murderous aura surged. Then, the dragon blood devil pushed its limbs and leaped into the air. Boom! In an instant, a thick, blood-red pillar of light shot into the clouds. The wind howled, and the clouds churned. Waves of energy swept across the sky. A deafening tiger roar reverberated. A majestic wave of energy spread in all directions. Under the endless murderous aura, a giant demon shrouded in white demonic flames appeared before everyone's eyes. The demon tiger was covered in a thick armor. The armor was extremely domineering. It looked as though it had grown out of its body. Its dark green, emotionless eyes slowly opened. It had 6 eyes. It was an evil white tiger with 6 eyes. At this moment, even Wu Xiao and Song Hao could no longer remain calm. Wu Xiao's eyes widened as he muttered in a deep voice, "This is the White Star Tiger Devil." The Han Yun sect disciples behind him trembled when they heard the words White Star Tiger Devil. Among the 24 Blood Devil guards under the Yama King, the White Star Tiger Devil was the most bloodthirsty. It was the epitome of killing and ruthlessness. It was extremely merciless and cruel. Wherever the White Star Tiger Devil went, people would be plunged into misery and suffering. Blood would flow like a river. Roar! The loud roar seemed to announce the start of the massacre. Without any hesitation, the White Star Tiger Demon leaped into the air. With a bang, the large stone block beneath him was instantly crushed to pieces. Everyone's face changed. The surging, baleful chi assaulted them. The White Star ferocious tiger's entire body was enveloped in a powerful and vast white flame aura. Its speed was extremely fast. Its attack was ferocious. It was comparable to a meteorite flying through the atmosphere, crashing into them head-on. Bang, bang, bang. Although everyone immediately dodged to the sides, there were still a few figures who were a step too slow and were blasted into a bloody mist. Damn it! Wu Xiao's eyes darkened, and he quickly shouted, "We can't let them go on like this. Cover me. The rest of you are responsible for restraining the other 2 blood demons." Song Hao immediately responded, "All right." After all, with Wu Xiao and Song Hao at the front, the group of experts did not reach the point of retreat. Wu Xiao's aura surged, and a majestic aura surged toward the White Star Tiger Demon. "Evil creature, don't be presumptuous." Heaven's meteorite hand. The surging true origin energy surged toward the White Star Tiger Demon like a tidal wave. Wu Xiao's arms moved like a willow. Then he reached out with his right palm. Buzz! In that instant, a fiery red hand made of magma appeared out of thin air. The giant hand covered the sky, and like a demon-suppressing hand, it headed toward the White Star Tiger Demon's head. Roar! The White Star Tiger Demon, who did not retreat, let out an earth-shattering roar. It raised its giant claws and directly slapped the giant magma hand that was crushing toward it. When the two collided, a red whirlpool-like storm of energy erupted. Layers of energy surged out. The space shook, and airwaves filled the sky. The ferocious wind caused Wu Xiao to retreat dozens of meters. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the same time, Song Hao, who was waiting for an opportunity, secretly activated the assassination stealth ability. A few blurry phantoms appeared in the air. Accompanied by the rapid whistling of the wind, Song Hao instantly appeared in front of the White Star Tiger Demon's head. Die! Song Hao's eyes flashed with a ruthless red light. The armed saber in his hand glowed with an unprecedented cold light. With the lesson learned from the evil dragon blood demon, Song Hao would not underestimate his enemy this time. What he needed to do was to stab the White Star Tiger Demon's head with the bloody arm saber in his hand. Buzz! However, just as Song Hao was about to swing his saber, the White Star Tiger Demon's 6 eyes emitted a strange green light. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Immediately after, 4 of its eyes shot out condensed green light beams. The light beams were like arrows, and they attacked with a piercing, killing intent. Humph! Song Hao's pupil shrank. He was about to defend himself when he realized the 4 light beams flew past his shoulders, head, and legs. They did not hit his body directly. Missed? No, they sealed off his escape route. For beams of light directly sealed off Song Hao's next step of evading. A strong sense of unease immediately rose in his heart. Whoosh! The space trembled continuously. Another 2 green light beams tore through the air. They were as cold as swords and as sharp as rays of light. They were extremely destructive. Song Hao's expression changed drastically. In a hurry, he swung the bloody arm saber. However, the bloody arm saber could only block 1 light beam. The moment the 2 light beams collided, True Yuan exploded and stacked together. The last light beam pierced through Song Hao's chest. Boom! Everyone's expression changed drastically. The disciples of the Heaven Condensing Pavilion were even more shocked. Senior brother Song Hao. However, Song Hao did not die after being pierced by the light beam. He flipped a few times and retreated like a swallow returning to its nest. Song Hao covered his chest with one hand. Then, he took out a round bronze mirror from his robe. The bronze mirror shone with a dim light. There was a hole the size of a finger in the middle. It's the heart protection mirror. That scared me to death. The people of the Heaven Condensing Pavilion heaved a sigh of relief. Wu Xiao's brows relaxed slightly. He said in a deep voice, "It seems like the heart protection mirror blocked most of the damage. However, you were too careless." Oomph. Song Hao's expression darkened. He put away the damaged heart protection mirror. Now is not the time to say such things. We might all die here today. Whoosh! At the same time, the other human experts and the mermaid blood demon and the dragon blood demon were engaged in a chaotic battle. The mermaid blood demon was like a powerful tide spirit. It constantly controlled all kinds of water element energy to attack. Rumble. Water flowed like water. Pillars of water shot up into the sky. The shockwaves were like raging dragons. The dragon blood demon clashed with the human expert's True Yuan, creating huge waves. The dragon blood demon took the opportunity to kill. Under the cover of the mermaid blood demon, it charged into the crowd and started a crazy killing spree. However, the human experts were not just a bunch of random people. After withstanding the pressure, they slowly stabilized the situation. Hurry up. As long as we kill 1 blood demon, we will win. Wu Xiao and Song Hao held back the white star tiger demon as they urged the others. We are giving it our all. The others gritted their teeth. With their advantage in numbers, they forcefully separated the mermaid blood demon and the dragon blood demon. The dragon blood demon was injured by Song Hao earlier. Under the combined attacks of the human experts, its body was already covered in wounds. Even so, the other party did not seem to feel pain. It did not dodge or evade. It faced them head-on, trading injuries for lives. It was cruel, cold, and evil. Roar. Suddenly, the white star tiger demon exploded with a ferocious aura. The wind blew, and the white star tiger demon's 6 eyes turned cold. It opened its mouth, and balls of white flame gathered in its mouth like a nebula. Shocking powers clashed and spread. The powerful demonic aura caused the surrounding space to twist and shake. Wu Xiao and Song Hao frowned. Without saying a word, they hurriedly used all their True Yuan to defend. However, right after that, the white star tiger demon turned around and targeted the group of human experts surrounding the dragon blood demon. What? The two were shocked. This guy's target is not us. Song Hao's face turned pale. He shouted, "You! Retreat! Retreat!" As he spoke, the air trembled violently. The white star demonic tiger suddenly spat out a ball of white flames that was dozens of meters wide. Swoosh! Like a falling star, it smashed into the crowd like an energy cannonball. Boom! The moment the white flame energy ball fell into the crowd, it exploded in the sky. In an instant, an extremely violent nebula astral wind exploded. Waves of chi soared into the sky. A series of screams overlapped. Blood rained, and minced meat flew everywhere. Dozens of human experts were killed in an instant. The dragon blood demon roared into the sky. Its thin eyes were filled with disdain. The faces of the other human experts turned pale. None of the sect's disciples who came to the tomb of the immortal and devil were weak. Dozens of genius experts were killed in an instant. It was shocking and infuriating. However, the most terrifying thing was yet to come. Scarlet blood rained down from the sky, splattering on the other blood demon stone statues below. The fresh blood dripped onto the stone statue, and like a web, the blood slowly spread out, forming dark and mysterious ancient runes and spells. A murderous aura that had been dormant for a long time was awakened. A series of dazzling cracks slowly appeared on the surface of the wall. The Sunluo King's 24 Blood Demon Guards. Chapter 1071. The violent energy was like a nebula vortex that instantly exploded. Heaven and earth trembled, and the sky shook. A murderous aura filled the air. The attack of the White Star Tiger Demon instantly turned dozens of human experts into dust. A scarlet rain of blood rained down from the sky, splashing onto the other blood demon statues. Waves of murderous energy that had been dormant for a long time quietly awakened. Dazzling cracks slowly appeared on the surface of the stone statues. Looking at the stone statues that glowed with blood patterns, it was like the activation of an ancient restriction rune. Deep uneasiness and fear quickly surged in everyone's hearts. The sky changed color, and dark clouds surged. It was a sign that a shocking chaos was about to arrive. Looks like the Yama King's 24 Blood Demon Guards are going to reappear in the world. At this moment, on a mountain a dozen miles to the southeast, a few silhouettes emitting powerful demonic chi were watching the changes in the deep valley in front of them from afar. These people were none other than the Red Dragon Demon Venerable and the Bloodbat Demon Venerable, who had led the demon beasts to fight the humans in the Great Valley. The Red Dragon Demon Venerable was more than 3 meters tall, and his body was surrounded by a scorching red light. His thick eyebrows and sharp eyes were filled with a fierce and domineering aura. The Bloodbat Demon Venerable was shrouded in a black robe. His skin was extremely white, and a few dark elemental bats flew around him like guards. Not far away, a peerlessly beautiful figure was quietly watching the chaotic situation before her. Even though she was wearing a mask on her face, it still couldn't hide her innate beauty. She was not a demon beast. However, even when she stood next to the Red Dragon Demon Venerable and the Bloodbat Demon Venerable, she still shone like a bright pearl. This should be the demon clan's shaman soul technique. The Red Dragon Demon Venerable said in a low voice. Yes. The Bloodbat Demon Venerable nodded slightly. The shaman soul technique is a blood sacrifice secret technique of the demon clan. As long as the demon soul is not destroyed, it can be awakened again. Scarlet Dragon Demon Venerable nodded. What a group of loyal fellows. They have been dead for so many years, yet they are still guarding this place. The Bloodbat Demon Venerable sneered and replied disdainfully. Instead of calling it loyal, it's more appropriate to call it pitiful. Let alone the fact that the devil soul has been imprisoned here for thousands of years. It can't even settle down after death. If that's not pitiful, what is it? However, the Bloodbat Demon Venerable paused for a moment, then continued. The 24 Demon Blood Guards were infamous existences in the past. It's a pleasant surprise to be able to witness their rare ferocity again today. Although their strength is greatly reduced compared to back then, the shaman soul technique was indeed powerful. Blood sacrifices could be used to revive the souls of the Blood Demon Guards, but after their resurrection, their cultivation would be far from the peak they had when they were alive. Even so, the fearsome name of the 24 Demon Blood Guards still caused people to be afraid. It is indeed a pleasant surprise. The Scarlet Dragon Demon Venerable said indifferently, "At least we don't have to personally deal with those annoying flies, especially at a time like this." With that, the Red Dragon Demon Venerable subconsciously turned to look at the area behind him. The land there was shrouded in a chaotic black fog. It was like a black sandstorm that lasted for a long time. It was unpredictable, mysterious, deep, and gloomy. The Bloodbat Demon Venerable also looked at the area behind him and muttered softly, "It seems like it has stabilized. It was just a false alarm. What's the reason? Have you found it?" An indifferent voice was heard. The bloodbat demon Venerable and the red dragon demon Venerable looked at the elegant figure. Although the two of them were prominent demon beasts with noble bloodlines, they were exceptionally polite to the human lady in front of them. We haven't figured out the exact reason yet. Demon Venerable Yin Luo and the seven-headed demon Venerable have been guarding there, so there shouldn't be too much of a problem, the red dragon demon Venerable replied. The lady nodded slightly, her clear eyes rippling behind a mask. She continued, the energy wave that was released earlier was not weak. If it didn't trigger some kind of restriction, it would be difficult to produce such a degree of rhythm. It's better to be more cautious. The two demon venerables looked at each other and could read the seriousness in each other's eyes. The bloodbat demon venerable nodded solemnly. Thank you for your reminder, Lady Bai. Once we're done here, we'll immediately return to guard the demon god's tomb. The lady did not say anything else and looked in the direction they came from. Buzz, buzz. The huge ravine sank into the ground like a bottomless abyss. Under the blood rain, waves of majestic, ferocious aura were brewing like lava in a volcano. What awaited them would be earth-shattering tremors. The malevolent dragon blood demon laughed ferociously like a demon from hell. The mermaid blood demon and the white star tiger demon also emitted a thick, ferocious aura. They looked at the people in front of them with a mocking and disdainful attitude. Panic quickly spread in everyone's hearts. Even Wu Xiao from the Han Yun sect and Song Hao from the Qixiao pavilion revealed a look of fear that they had never seen before. Just the 3 demon blood guards were already enough to make them flustered. Once all 24 blood demons were awakened, the 200 to 300 human experts here would probably die here. Roar! Woo! Crimson lights surged, and dark clouds surged. It was as if a group of demons were dancing. Amidst the roars that shook all directions, the surface of the stone statues quickly cracked open one after another, accompanied by the sputtering of mysterious light patterns. Bang, bang, bang. Gravel exploded, airwaves surged, and devil chi soared into the sky. Several ferocious and evil behemoths suddenly rose into the sky, bursting out with a powerful, crushing aura. Those who offend Prince Sun Luo die. Die. Their voices were deafening like thunder. The giant figures were like mountains, and the awakened blood demons were like ancient giants standing in front of everyone. Each of them emitted an endless, murderous aura. Everyone's expression changed again and again. At a glance, there was a giant blood demon with 3 heads, a monster with a lion's body and a snake's belly, and a tree demon that looked like an ancient tree. The thick, ferocious aura instantly crushed the entire place. Let's go. The human experts finally did not dare to show off their abilities. They quickly retreated before all 24 blood demon guards were awakened. Retreat. Wu Xiao immediately turned around and gave the order to the Han Yun sect disciples. Song Hao also hurriedly led his companions to leave. The situation was too chaotic. They had underestimated the changes in the immortal and devil tomb. Wu Xiao and Song Hao could no longer control the current situation. Since you are all here, then don't leave. At this time, a crystal-clear blood demon that looked like an ice crystal dragon spoke mockingly. Everyone's heart suddenly trembled. In an instant, surging waves of cold air rushed over like a tide. A few overlapping sounds intertwined together, and an extremely cold and dense qi swept out in all directions. Sun Luo, extreme cold storm, extreme cold storm. Boom! Whoosh! Ice and snow roared, and the temperature suddenly dropped to the freezing point. The cold ice vortex spread out like a nebula vortex, covering the sky and the earth. Crack! As if the space was about to freeze and crack, a thick layer of ice began to spread to the surrounding mountains and valleys. Snowflakes swirled, and the world was frozen. Under the impact of the ice roar, the human experts were wrapped in a thick layer of ice. Many human experts were directly frozen into ice sculptures. When the cold wind blew, the ice sculptures, along with their bodies, suddenly burst into pieces. Chapter 1072. Sun Luo, Extreme Cold Storm. A cold and mocking voice reverberated in the sky above the abyss like a clap of thunder. In that instant, the ice and snow roared, and the temperature in the world suddenly dropped to freezing point. The ground was covered in ice, and the cold cyclone was like a nebula whirlpool that rapidly expanded in all directions, covering the sky and earth. Thick layers of ice quickly extended and covered the surrounding mountains and valleys. Snow drifted in the world, and frost dyed the world. Under the roar of the ice, many human experts were instantly frozen, and they were directly frozen into crystal clear ice sculptures. A cold wind blew past, and with a kacha, crisp cracking sound, the ice sculptures instantly shattered into thousands of pieces. Shock, fear, panic, everyone's expression changed drastically. No one dared to stay here for long, but the bone-piercing cold current was like a demon invading their bodies. Not only did their true essence circulate extremely slowly, but even their blood felt like it was about to freeze. Everyone's movement speed was greatly reduced, and the White Star Tiger Devil, the Dragon Blood Devil, the Merfolk Blood Devil, and other ferocious killing demons chased after them like the Grim Reaper. Kiki, stay here and become Prince Sun Luo's slaves. The Dragon Blood Devil waved its sharp claws, and like a large net that was cast toward a school of fish, it closed its fingers and instantly crushed the bodies of the few people. The Merfolk Blood Devil held a scepter in its hand, and it was like a sea spirit that controlled the tides. The fish opened its mouth, and it let out a sharp whistle. Then a majestic jet of water shot out from its mouth. The water pillar was extremely fast, and it was extremely fierce. As it moved, the water pillar spun rapidly, and the cold air in the world gathered around it. The water pillar immediately turned into a sharp ice pillar. The ice pillar pierced through the air like a sharp sword. It forcefully entered the crowd, and its long body fell straight down. Along with a series of panic screams, the human experts were once again scattered, and there were casualties everywhere. Damn it! Hanyin Sect Wuxiu was shocked and anxious. He looked at the other stone statues that were glowing with dazzling blood patterns. Once all the blood devils were awakened, the consequences would be unimaginable. In the current situation, just the few blood devils that they were facing right now were enough to kill all of them. Extreme cold storm. It's actually the power of Sun Luo. On the peak of a mountain in the distance, the red dragon Demon Venerable's eyes were deep as he murmured in surprise. The bloodbat Demon Venerable was also surprised. Isn't this the power controlled by the Yama King? How can they use it? The red dragon Demon Venerable shook his head. I don't know much about the demon race. Then he turned to look at the masked woman on the other side. I wonder if Miss Bai knows the reason? She nodded slightly and spat out 4 words in an indifferent tone. For souls. For soul spirits? The 2 demon venerables were stunned. They looked at each other and were even more confused. The woman continued to say, back then, the Sun Luo King used his extraordinary ability to refine the 4 soul spirits with his own energy and gave them to the 24 blood devil guards under him. With the power of the 4 soul spirits, he could unleash the Sun Luo energy. I see. After listening to the other party's explanation, the 2 demon venerables immediately understood. The red dragon demon venerable said, if that's the case, I'm afraid the disciples of the righteous sects will have to stay here today. The bloodbat demon venerable smiled coldly. That's good. At least we don't have to do it ourselves. Roar. Demonic chi filled the sky and blood dyed the sky red. The blood devil guards did not give the experts a chance to retreat. They charged forward and started a crazy massacre. One by one, the blood devil guards woke up from their slumber. The ferocious beasts revealed their bloodthirsty expressions. Under such circumstances, even Wu Xiu, Song Hao, and the others did not dare to fight. Other than retreating, they had no intention of fighting. Let's go. Retreat. The disciples of the Hanyin sect and the Qishao pavilion followed closely behind them and left at top speed. As for the others, they ran away as fast as they could. TSK, do you think you can run away? A chilling aura swept over as the ice crystal flood dragon blood demon soared through the air. Wherever it went, white cyclones danced wildly. It swooped down at a speed that was several times faster than human experts and pounced toward the Han sex team at the front. Oh no! Zheng Shu, Su Lingzhu, and Zhu Han, who were at the back of the team, turned pale. Senior brother Wu Xiu, save me! Zhui Yuan shouted hurriedly. Wu Xiu frowned. He hesitated for a moment, but he had no intention of turning back. Under such circumstances, everyone would take care of themselves. Roar! At the same time, the ice crystal dragon swooped down above them. It opened its mouth, and a white flame condensed in its mouth. The white flame was bone-chilling and emitted a terrifying power that could freeze everything. Whoosh! In the next moment, the ice crystal dragon lifted its head, and the dragon's breath turned into a huge ball of white ice flame and blasted toward the Han Yun sex people. A strong destructive power surged. The people behind the Han Yun sex people narrowed their eyes. The bone-chilling cold invaded them, and the blood in their bodies seemed to have stagnated. Right at this moment, bang! An extremely heavy and earth-shattering sound rang out, and a white and purple chi wave storm suddenly exploded in the void. The white ice flame was stopped less than 20 meters away from Zheng Shu, Su Lingzhu, and the others. The chaotic air blast swept across the area. The Han Yun sex people were stunned again. In the midst of the chaotic air blast, a slender young man's figure gradually became clear and appeared in everyone's sight. It's Brother Chu Hen. Zheng Shu's eyes lit up, and he was the first to exclaim, "It's Chu Hen?" Su Lingzhu's eyes trembled, and she subconsciously clenched her fists. The Han Yun sex people were surprised. No one had expected that the person who would save them at this time would be Chu Hen. But soon, the crowd realized that the person that the other party wanted to save was likely only Zheng Shu. Chu Hen's body was surrounded by purple light, and his eyes were like stars. He was not afraid of the ice crystal dragon and the blood demon. TSK, a guy who was not to be trifled with. The ice crystal dragon looked at Chu Hen condescendingly. There was a hint of mockery in its vertical pupils. The words, "a guy who is not to be trifled with," shocked the other human experts. After all, even Wu Xiu and Song Hao did not receive such an evaluation from the demon blood guards. Which sect is this young man from? The red dragon demon Venerable asked in surprise on a mountain in the distance. The blood bat demon Venerable touched his chin with interest. Haha, interesting. However, he won't live for long. The other demon blood guards are about to wake up. The speaker did not mean it, but the listener was listening. The mysterious woman not far away did not participate in the conversation between the two demon venerables. She only looked at the chaotic area in front of her quietly. There was a faint ripple in her clear eyes behind the mask. Roar! Woo! Wave after wave of demonic aura rose into the sky. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the 24 demon blood guards had woken up. The entire area was shrouded in dark clouds. Ferocious giant demons were like ancient creatures that crawled out of hell. They smashed the shackles and cages and rushed into the crowd to kill. The number of human experts was decreasing. From the original 300, more than half of them had been killed. Although there were many human experts nearby who heard the news and rushed over to help, they immediately turned around and ran when they saw the situation in front of them. TSK, you won't be able to save anyone. The ice crystal dragon blood demon looked at Chu Hen disdainfully. Then a majestic aura exploded and filled the air. Sun Luo, rumble. The earth shook and the mountains and rivers changed. Even the space was shaking. Rows of ice pillars that pierced through the clouds condensed in the air. Chapter 1073. Sun Luo boom. The mountains and rivers suddenly changed, and heaven and earth trembled. Along with a monstrous, majestic momentum, rows of closely connected icicles appeared between heaven and earth like divine towers supporting the sky. In an instant, an incomparably huge ice wall barrier blocked the path of the human experts. A great fear assaulted his heart. Everyone's expressions changed drastically. They clenched their teeth and burst forth with a series of violent forces to attack the ice barrier. Break it! Hurry up! Boom! Bang! The violent power of the chaotic astral slammed into the ice barrier like streaks of rainbow sword light. Ice shards splashed in all directions, and shattered pieces flew everywhere. The ice wall was instantly filled with potholes, but in his panic he had no way to concentrate his strength at all. A series of random attacks did not have the slightest effect. Kiki struggled before death. A horrifying and cruel grin blossomed on the dragon blood demon's face. He was like a demon that had crawled out of the abyss as he charged over with the other blood demon guards. The blood demons looked at the humans as if they were lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Coldness, ridicule, rumination, disdain, the desperate struggle of a cornered beast. A bloody massacre was about to begin. Roar! The white star tiger demon opened its bloody mouth and let out a deafening roar. The majestic sound wave formed a violent airflow that pierced towards Chu Hen, who was standing in front of the ice crystal flood dragon blood devil. Chu Hen's expression changed slightly, and he immediately dodged. The people from the Han Yun sect in the back were sent flying in all directions by this shocking wave of air. The group of demons danced wildly, their baleful auras soaring to the heavens. The evil dragon blood devil, the merman blood devil, and the other ferocious creatures from the hell realm charged into the crowd, revealing their bloodthirsty and savage sides. His methods were cruel and heartless. The bloody scene appeared again, and mournful wails resounded throughout the ravine of the abyss. What should we do? Song Hao of Xiao Pavilion looked at Wu Xiao of Han Yun sect with a grave expression. The latter's expression was equally gloomy as he replied coldly, "What can I do? Let's see how many we can leave." After saying that, he once again turned his gaze to the huge ice screen behind him that connected the earth and the sky. "Let's join forces and destroy it." Song Hao nodded without hesitation and anxiously said to the other disciples of Even Heaven Pavilion, "Gather everyone's strength, hurry." Yes. No one dared to delay any longer. They released all the true inner force in their bodies and condensed it into attacks. But before they could complete their joint attack, a cold and bloodthirsty aura came whistling from behind. He, the evil dragon blood demon, was like a terrifying ancient lizard as it crawled through the air towards the Han Yun sect and Even Heaven Pavilion. Its thin pupils flashed with a crafty light. Then it stretched out its dragon arm and opened its claws. The claws were as sharp as a guillotine and directly grabbed at the people who were gathering their strength. Bastard. Song Hao could be said to be both shocked and furious. This bastard is simply going too far. Woo! At the same time, behind the dragon blood demon, all the scales on the mermaid blood demon's body flipped outwards. A ferocious tsunami surged up from its back. The shockwave of the waterfall was like a ferocious beast tide as it swept along both sides of the evil dragon blood demon. The surging giant waves rapidly condensed into ice under the power of the extremely cold storm. Then it turned into many sharp ice spears and icicles of different lengths. Tens of thousands of big and small icicles rushed forward, directly disrupting the rhythm of Song Hao, Wu Xiao, and the others. Everyone quickly dodged the oncoming icicles. Countless icicles hit the ice screen behind them, cracking and exploding into pieces. Moreover, a few disciples who reacted slower were forcibly pierced by the icicles. They were firmly nailed to the ice screen. Scarlet blood splattered, blossoming into bright red flowers. The evil dragon blood demon's giant claws followed up with an attack. Once again, a few human experts were heavily pressed against the ice screen like flies. Blood splattered and minced meat flew everywhere. It was a tragic sight. Everyone's heart was filled with fear. There was no way to deal with it. In this extremely cold storm, the blood demon guards were like the rulers of this area. They were invincible. In an instant, all the human experts were forced to a corner. In front of them was a thick ice screen. Behind them was the extremely ferocious blood demon guards. There was no way out. Only death awaited them. Chu Hen's eyes trembled slightly as he looked at the powerful blood demons approaching him. His eyes were also surging with a grave expression. Chu-Hin, Brother Chu-Hin, don't worry about me. Hurry up and leave. I'm afraid that we won't be able to escape death today. Don't waste time. At this moment, Zheng Shu, who was not far behind him, said anxiously. Chu-Hin furrowed his brows and remained silent. The current situation did not allow for any delay. But until the last moment, Chu-Hin did not want to give up on Zheng Shu. After all, back in Whale Island City, Zheng Shu had made an enemy out of Qi Ming and his son for him. Demon Eye power. Buzz. Suddenly, a resplendent purple light erupted from Chu-Hin's body. As the purple light revolved around him, Chu-Hin's eyes narrowed, and his pitch-black pupils quietly turned a demonic purple. Chu-Hin's eyes quickly swept over the ice barrier in the area behind him. His vision jumped and infinitely shortened the distance between them. The ice barrier was like a sky curtain, and all its internal and external structure immediately appeared in Chu-Hin's mind. The inside of the ice wall was flickering with strange runes and secret spells. The mysterious runes intertwined to form this impregnable ice barrier. There, Chu-Hin clenched his fists, his eyes cold. The weakest place. In an instant, he locked onto one of the plates on the ice wall barrier. Shing! With a clear and melodious sound, a sacred sword flickering with a gorgeous green light immediately fell into Chu-Hin's hand. Chi-Chi! Violent dark blue arcs of lightning quickly scuttled up the sword, and the blue sky sword shone brilliantly, releasing a dazzling divine rainbow. The sword's momentum was shocking, and it illuminated the heavens. Without any hesitation, Chu-Hin unsheathed his sword. In an instant, a majestic sword pillar traversed the heavens and rushed towards the ice barrier behind him. The sudden sword directly shocked everyone present, including the blood demon guards. The incomparably sharp sword pillar flowed with streaks of electric arcs, and with a shocking momentum, it firmly hit a spot on the huge ice barrier. Bang! With a deafening sound, layers of mighty sword patterns surged and swept out. The violent wind current was like an exploding storm, wreaking havoc in the area. It directly shook the blood of many human experts, and they saw stars. Bastard! Everyone was quite angry. The situation was already chaotic enough, and Chu-Hin's sword was like adding hail to snow. What the hell are you doing? Hanyin Sex Wu Xiao shouted. Are you trying to kill us? Everyone started cursing, but in less than 3 seconds, everyone shut their mouths. His angry expression instantly turned into a deep sense of surprise. They saw that on the indestructible ice barrier, there were suddenly countless dense, deep, and huge cracks. The densely packed cracks extended from the place where Chu-Hin's sword had struck to other places. Moreover, large and small pieces of ice slowly fell and smashed down. They were overjoyed. Everyone's eyes lit up. It can't be wrong, it's there. Let's go. Without any hesitation, as if they had seen an exit from a hopeless situation, they quickly rushed towards the place where the cracks had appeared. Hee, you really are not someone to be trifled with. You even found out about this. The ice crystal dragon blood demon danced in the air, and with a sinister smile, he stared at the aggressive young figure in front of him. Hee. On the other side, the evil dragon blood demon also laughed sinisterly. So what? You still have to die. As soon as he finished speaking, the evil dragon blood demon leaped up, and like a prehistoric giant beast, he pounced towards the human experts who had gathered together. He opened his sharp claws, and it was like a large net that was thrown toward a school of fish. This palm strike would definitely cause blood and flesh to splatter everywhere. The people who had not escaped in time panicked again. A black shadow quickly engulfed them, and it was like the embrace of the Grim Reaper that was dragging them into the abyss. Boom! Suddenly, right at this critical moment, the enormous ice wall barrier that seemed like the curtain of the sky suddenly collapsed and exploded. Billions of ice crystal fragments flew everywhere, and a chilly air spread in all directions. A powerful and fierce aura surged. Before the people present could react, A dazzling golden holy light shot down like a beam of light from the sun and directly chopped the evil dragon blood demon's dragon arm. Puff! Dark red blood splattered everywhere, and the dense scales shattered. The evil dragon blood demon's dragon arm was neatly cut off. What? Boom! The sky changed and thunder rumbled. A vast and mighty aura spread across the sky, and more than 10 figures with fierce auras suddenly appeared in the sky above the abyss, especially the leader, who had an extraordinary aura and was extraordinarily handsome. That person put his index and middle fingers together to form a sword seal. Strands of golden light lingered on his fingers, and the surrounding air made a low, vibrating sound. It's senior brother Yuan Liang. We are saved. The Han Yin faction's disciples were all overjoyed, and their eyes were shining brightly. The other human experts were also very excited. Chapter 1074. It was Li Yuan Liang's heavenly sword finger. An extraordinary aura swept across the sky. Waves of qi stacked up in the air and shook the earth. Everyone was in awe when they heard this name. This was especially so for the disciples of the Hanyin sect. They were overjoyed, and their eyes were filled with excitement. A finger sword directly chopped off the arm of the evil dragon blood demon. Its domineering aura was like that of a graceful swan. Roar! The dragon blood demon, whose arm had been cut off, let out a furious roar. Its thin pupils emitted a sinister blood-red light. It leaped up and turned around to pounce on Li Yuan Liang. Li Yuan Liang's expression was calm. The corners of his lips curled up into a faint smile. You're courting death. Then, Li Yuan Liang raised 2 of his fingers. The light patterns on his fingers spun rapidly and emitted a restless energy. However, at this moment, another shockingly ferocious aura suddenly attacked. Before Li Yuan Liang could make a move, a sharp saber light that was more than 1,000 feet long cut through the side of the evil dragon blood devil's body. Crack! The dragon blood demon's other arm was instantly separated from its shoulder along with the sharp sound of its scales and flesh being torn apart. What a fast blade! All the human experts present were secretly shocked. Soon after, the 1,000-foot-long blade, Glow, swiftly withdrew after cutting through the body of the evil dragon blood demon. Subsequently, it shrunk into a strange dagger. The dagger looked like a feather. The patterns on it were clear and sharp. That's the 10-feather blade. The eyes of the Qi Shao Pavilion disciples lit up. It's Senior Yin Cheng. Yin Cheng? Could it be the 10-feathered demon blade? Li Yin Cheng. Someone in the crowd exclaimed. It can't be wrong. Buzz, buzz. While everyone was still in shock, a dazzling wheel of light suddenly appeared in the dark sky. The wheel of light hung in the sky like the sun. Rumble, accompanied by a terrifying and majestic aura, the wheel of light exploded into a blazing flame. Waves of air rolled down from the sky. Thousands of petals and leaves fell like fallen flowers. They all hit the dragon blood demon's body. Roar! The furious and mournful roar soared into the sky. The scarlet petals instantly engulfed it. Under the shocked gazes of the onlookers, countless holes of different sizes appeared on the evil dragon blood demon's sturdy body. The flames quickly engulfed his entire body. The moment the cries died down, the evil dragon blood demon, one of the 24 blood demon guards under the Yama King's throne, was burned into a pile of ashes on the spot. Oh my God, this is profound Yang Palace's colorful rain of fire? So scary. Buzz, buzz. Piercingly cold airwaves filled the sky and earth, and the wind and clouds stirred. A figure with an extraordinary aura quietly appeared in the sky above the Abyss Canyon. The man was dressed in a gorgeous brocade robe, and his aura was somewhat feminine. He held a delicate feather-shaped knife between his fingers. Senior brother Yin Cheng. Even Heaven Pavilion's song how hurriedly shouted. 10-feathered demon blade, Li Yinqing. No one had any more questions. Li Yinqing raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at Li Yuan Liang with a half-smile. Then, both of their gazes simultaneously swept to the other side of the sky. Flower petals scattered in the air. A ball of fire danced in the air. Then, a tall and beautiful figure in red appeared in the sky like an otherworldly dancer. What a coincidence! Li Yinqing smiled indifferently. His tone was a little high, and then he uttered two words, Luya. Hearing this name, many of the young experts present all had looks of admiration on their faces. While they admired her, they were also filled with awe. This was because everyone present knew that Lu Wuyue was known as the Fatal Elegance. Fatal Elegance, Lu Wuyue? Zheng Shu, who was standing behind Chu Hen, murmured in a low voice. Fatal Elegance? Chu Hen's gaze slightly congealed. This red-clothed girl was indeed beautiful and moving. The arrogant temperament that she was born with was also in line with the two words elegance. And the colorful rain of fire just now also fully displayed its fatal ability. Kiki, finally a group of people to watch. The ice dragon blood demon released a shocking aura, and gusts of cold air swept over. Roar! Roar! At the same time, a few powerful blood demon guards awakened from their stone statues. Their murderous aura once again enveloped the entire area. Lu Wue glanced coldly at the ferocious creatures that crawled out of hell, and then looked at the disciples of profound Yang Palace. Where's Qin He? Qin He? Everyone was stunned. If the other party did not mention this person, no one would have remembered this person. After all, the situation was too chaotic. Senior Sister Lu, Senior Brother Qin, he is still there. A young disciple of profound Yang Palace pointed shakily at a mountain wall below. Among the frozen rocks, a battered figure covered in blood was frozen in the mountain wall. No one knew whether he was dead or alive. Because the situation was too urgent, the disciples of profound Yang Palace did not have the chance to bring Qin He out. Lu Wuyue's face turned cold. Who did this? She knew very well that with Qin He's strength, it was impossible for him to fall behind the others. As soon as she finished speaking, almost everyone's eyes gathered on one person. Even Li Yuanliang and Li Yinqing revealed looks of surprise. Under the gaze of the crowd, Chu Hen let out a sigh of relief. He did not seem to be panicking. It's you. Lu Wuyue's voice was cold, and her gorgeous face was as proud as a queen. Chu Hen spread out his hands and shrugged. I don't deny it. Very well. Kill yourself. Kill yourself. Her indifferent tone was like a king giving an order to the poor. Chu Hen could not help but sneer. Are all the people from the rich and powerful forces so unreasonable? It was Qin He who was aggressive first, and now she wants me to kill myself? Isn't this woman looking down on me too much? He was so arrogant that it was ridiculous. He, a bunch of foolish humans who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Because you have offended us, you will face the wrath of His Highness Shun Luo. The demons rose, and their ferocious auras filled the sky. The ferocious demons unleashed their killing intent and charged at the crowd. Li Yuanliang's eyes turned cold, and he said to Lu Wuyue in a deep voice, We'll talk about this later. Let's deal with the one in front of us first. After saying that, Li Yuanliang leaped into the air, and two sword seals appeared in his hands. With a wave of his hands, two beams of light pierced through the air and slashed at one of the blood demons. You're right. When all the blood demon guards wake up, it'll be a little difficult. 10-feathered demonic blade, Li Yinqing said. With a flick of his finger, the feather knife in his hand immediately shot out. As it moved, the knife released a dazzling light, as if it was traveling through time and space, and went straight for the vital parts of the blood demon guards. Lu Wuyue's brows furrowed slightly. Even though these 24 blood demon guards were soul, revolting corpses that had been awakened using the shamanic soul technique and were far weaker than when they were at their peak, they were still infamous demons when they were alive. She could not underestimate them. Of course, she would not let Chu Hen go either. Chapter 1075. Bang! Boom! A series of violent explosions erupted in the sky above the abyssal canyon. Li Yuanliang pointed his sword at the sky. 10-feathered demon blade. Li Yinqing. The three top genius disciples, Fatal Elegance and Lu Wuyue, had arrived. The battle between the humans and the 24 blood devil guards had begun, shock waves shook the mountains and rivers. The awakening of the great demons set off a monstrous, murderous aura. However, Li Yuanliang, Li Yinqing, and Lu Weiyue also displayed their ability to control the situation. While they were the main attackers, they were also looking for their opponent's weaknesses and analyzing them one by one. The ice energy of the Arctic storm is too domineering. We need to kill the blood devil with the four souls first. Li Yuanliang's eyes turned cold. The four souls? Li Yinqing raised his eyebrows slightly. That's right, it's a powerful demon weapon personally refined by the Yama King back then. This Arctic storm is the power of the four souls, Li Yuanliang said. Haha, I know. There's no need for you to explain. Li Yinqing smiled indifferently, and a hint of femininity appeared between his brows. His voice paused for a moment, and then he continued. I just want to say, how should we divide the four souls? Lu Weiyue sneered arrogantly. If you have the ability, get first. Of course, Li Yinqing's gaze turned, and his eyes shot straight at the ice dragon blood devil that was emitting a cold, white aura. I'm guessing. It's on it. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, Li Yinqing waved his hand, and a feather-shaped blade sliced through the air. It exploded with a dazzling aura as it attacked the ice dragon blood devil. The latter's pupils constricted slightly. It raised its ferocious dragon head and spat out a white spiral flame that was like a roaring storm. Boom! The ice exploded and crystal fragments flew everywhere. The sharp feather blades were like flying light shuttles that traveled back thousands of years. With the momentum of piercing through the nebula, they directly pierced through the berserk white whirlpool of ice and continued on their way to the ice crystal flood dragon behind them. 10 feathers. Li Yinqing raised one hand to the sky, and his 5 fingers froze in the air. Buzz! The air waves in the air trembled, and the feather blades suddenly split into 5, and then 10 flying blades in a split second. 10 sharp and solid beams of light were dragged out from the void. The 10 flying blades struck the enormous body of the ice crystal flood dragon one after another like divine rainbows. Although the feather blades were small, they were extremely penetrative. A series of penetrating blade marks immediately appeared in the other party's huge devil body. Layers of shattered ice crystal shards fell from the body of the ice crystal flood dragon like a cracked ice armor. Even though there weren't any fatal injuries on the other party's body, what was surprising was that the fiendish demonic aura emitted by the other party had suddenly decreased, and his powerful aura had also been greatly reduced, as expected of the 10-feathered devil blade. It's actually able to silently weaken one's life force, someone in the crowd exclaimed. Xiao! At the same time, the heaven-raising sword finger, Li Yuanliang, suddenly shot out. His target was also the ice crystal flood dragon. Roar! At this time, the white star tiger demon attacked from the side without hesitation. A powerful murderous aura surrounded him as he tried to stop Li Yuanliang. As the most bloodthirsty and strongest of the 24 demon blood guards, the white star tiger demon's roar shook the heavens and earth. Its 6 eyes were wide open, and the eerie green light was like surging venom. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, the 6 demonic light pillars were like divine rainbows that pierced through the sky, heading straight for Li Yuanliang, who was charging at them. Facing the 6 destructive light pillars, Li Yuanliang's eyes turned cold. His body flashed left and right like a ghost. The sound of rushing wind tore through the air, and a series of overlapping shadows appeared in the void. In the blink of an eye, Li Yuanliang passed through the attack of the 6 light pillars unscathed and arrived in front of the white star tiger demon. His movements were graceful and smooth. Roar! The white star tiger demon revealed its ferocious nature. It waved its sharp claws like a giant millstone, smashing down on Li Yuanliang's head. Li Yuanliang was not afraid at all. He extended 2 fingers from one hand and put them together. Like the horns of a rhinoceros, they were surrounded by light as they attacked. One finger pointing to the sky. Bang! A heavy explosion came from the White Star Tiger Demon's sharp claws. The ferocious energy was like an exploding mountain. The White Star Tiger Demon's giant claws, which were covered in red light, were like mountains. Li Yuanliang seemed insignificant in front of its palm. However, in the next second, bang, there was a spray of blood, and a sword-like light pierced through the White Star Tiger Demon's giant claws. The extremely sharp light rapidly expanded and burst forth. A bloody hole appeared in the White Star Tiger Demon's sharp claws. Swoosh! Then, a figure with extraordinary aura rushed out from the hole in the center of the claw. The cold aura shocked everyone. Impressive. The sky-raising swordfinger. It really lives up to its name. The human experts who were in charge of restraining the other blood demon guards were shocked. Their eyes were filled with admiration. After Li Yuanliang pierced the White Star Tiger Demon with one finger, he did not continue to attack the White Star Tiger Demon. Instead, he moved behind the White Star Tiger Demon and charged toward the Ice Crystal Jiao Dragon Blood Demon. They knew very well, if they wanted to defeat these blood demons, they had to destroy the Arctic Storm's domain first. Roar! Ha! Seeing the Ice Crystal Jiao Dragon Blood Demon was being targeted, the other blood demon guards quickly retreated from their respective battles and rushed over to help. Li Yuanliang's eyes turned cold when he saw the ferocious giant creatures charging at him. He stood in the air and crossed his arms. His left hand formed a sword finger seal. "Huh!" Li Yuanliang shouted and lifted both of his hands. In an instant, a rain of swords flew out and slashed at the blood demons. The overwhelming finger radiance shuttled between heaven and earth, quickly sealing off the blood demon's movement. At the same time, a huge fireball as bright as the sun suddenly appeared in the sky above the Ice Crystal Jiao Dragon. The fireball was like a scorching sun hanging in the sky. The scorching heat wave covered the sky and earth, and the entire abyssal canyon was illuminated red. Screech! A loud and clear phoenix cry resounded in the sky. Beautiful and resplendent rays of light poured down from the sky. Accompanied by the tsunami-like flaming waves, a flaming phoenix with 5 colored feathers swooped down from the surging flames. It spread its arms that spanned thousands of meters and pounced toward the Ice Crystal Jiao Dragon Blood Demon. One was ice and one was fire. One was red and one was white. 2 diametrically opposed forces converged in the sky. Boom! A terrifying power exploded, and the surging flames quickly enveloped the Ice Crystal Jiao Dragon's body. Hiss, hiss! White mist and water vapor rose into the air. The Ice Crystal Flood Dragon struggled, but it was firmly entangled by the flaming phoenix. In addition, its life force had been greatly weakened by the 10-feathered demon blade just now. The Ice Crystal Flood Dragon Blood Devil's aura was firmly suppressed. Roar! The roar shook the sky, and the scorching heat wave swept across the sky. Under countless shocked gazes, the Ice Crystal Jiao Dragon's huge body shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was like an ice sculpture that had been melted by the high temperature. What a terrifying power! Everyone's heart was filled with fear. Meanwhile, Chu Hen, who did not participate in the chaotic battle, narrowed his eyes. He could not help but look a little solemn. These 3 people were not ordinary people. He was afraid that it would be better for him to leave as soon as possible. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just as Chu Hen was about to step into the sky and leave, a hurried sound came. Several figures with ill intent blocked his path. Do you think it's that easy to leave? You injured senior brother Qin He, and you still want to leave safely? Dream on. Chapter 1076. With just a few of you, I'm afraid you won't be able to stop me. Chu Hen's gaze turned cold as he swept a cold glance over the profound Yang Palace disciples in front of him. Their expressions darkened, and one of the young men shouted, I know you have some ability, but we're not useless people. Don't be too arrogant. As soon as he finished speaking, the man extended a single hand towards Chu Hen. A ball of scorching scarlet aura rose and exploded on his arm. Following that, a sturdy and malevolent 100-meter-long fire python charged into the sky from behind him. The fiery python's aura was oppressive, and it swept up a scorching wave of air as it pounced towards Chu-Hen. The other profound Yang Palace disciples also displayed their abilities. Since the person in front of them had just defeated Qin he not long ago, they didn't hold back at all. Their first move was their most powerful killing move, Colorful Rain of Fire. Burning Sky Formation. Profound Yang Slash. Colorful Rain of Fire. The fiery formation and fiery domain rose up, burning the heavens. A giant scarlet blade pierced through the sky. Waves after waves of majestic and terrifying power surged towards Chu-Hen from all directions. Chu-Hen's expression remained unchanged, but his eyes flashed with a fierce electric light. Thousand Lightning, Escape, Boom! In an instant, a huge bolt of lightning pierced through the raging scarlet flames like a giant thunder dragon. The ferocious energy was like a blooming flower of lightning, destroying everything in its path. All the scarlet flames that came into contact with the divine thunder of the Black Slayer were instantly shattered into pieces. Along with the violent shockwave, a few disciples of the profound Yang Palace were sent flying. Oomph! If you can leave, how can my profound Yang Palace maintain its face? Lu Wuyue, who was working together with Li Yuanliang and Li Yinqing to kill the Ice Crystal Flood Dragon, had a cold look in her eyes. Her beautiful face turned frosty. After saying that, Lu Wuyue raised her arm, and with a xiao, a scarlet golden whip flew towards Chu-Hen's position. Scorching whip shadows were dragged in the air. The flaming whip pierced through the crowd of human experts and blood demons. It was as agile as a dragon swimming in the deep sea, reaching right in front of Chu-Hen. Chu-Hen's eyes darkened. This woman was really never-ending. Whoosh! Accompanied by a resonant sword cry, Chu-Hen suddenly erupted with a domineering and extraordinary sword aura with a blue sky sword in his hand. Flying immortal sword. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, more than a dozen sharp, white humanoid sword cheese appeared in the air. The sword cheese were like shadow blades, quickly piercing through the space in front of them. Lu Yue immediately felt her grip loosen, and a few dull thumps rang out as the fiery whips that were hurtling toward Chu-Hen were instantly sliced into several pieces. Everyone in the room was shocked. Even Li Yuanliang and Li Yinqing were slightly surprised. One had to realize that the flaming whip was formed from Lu Wuyue's true origin, and even the light of a Saint Tool was unable to sever it. They didn't expect it to be so easily severed by Chu-Hen. It was truly unexpected. Roar! Right at this moment, the ice crystal WYRM that was enveloped in flames suddenly erupted with a violent chill. It directly broke through the control of the flaming phoenix and struggled out at the last moment. Li Yuanliang frowned and immediately said, "Junior Sister Lu, you've been distracted. With Lu Wuyue's ability, that was definitely the best opportunity to kill the Ice Crystal WYRM. Because she suddenly attacked Chu-Hen, the Ice Crystal WYRM was able to seize the opportunity when she was distracted. Roar! The Ice Crystal WYRM broke out of the crimson rain of fireballs, but its aura was extremely weak. Its original body that was hundreds of meters tall had also shrunk to less than a tenth of its original size. Even so, it was meaningless for the humans. The Ice Crystal WYRM was undefeated, and this land of extreme frost still existed. The Blood Demon Guards took this opportunity to rush over and protect the Ice Crystal WYRM. Suddenly, just as Li Yuanliang and Li Yinqing were about to break through the encirclement and kill the Ice Crystal WYRM, a dazzling ray of light suddenly pierced through everyone's optic nerves. A piercingly cold light flashed in the sky. A crescent-shaped ray of light fell from the sky like a bright moon from the highest heavens. It dragged along a vast and mighty aura as it crashed directly into the spine of the Ice Crystal WYRM. What? Everyone's hearts trembled. Roar! A cloud of reddish-brown blood splattered through the air. The Ice Crystal WYRM's body was immediately split in two. Its life energy was rapidly draining away, and its body glowed with a crystalline light. Then, like an exploding ice crystal, it dissipated into the air. Bang, bang, bang. At the same time, the thick layer of ice covering the rock walls below cracked and exploded. The frozen mountains and valleys quickly returned to spring. The temperature of the world quickly warmed up, and the circulation of true yuan returned to normal. The Arctic storm has been broken. Everyone was overjoyed. Once the Arctic storm was broken, it meant that it was no longer the Blood Demon Guard's territory. Their advantage instantly disappeared. Then, a white crystal floated where the ice crystal WYRM and the Blood Demon Guards had disappeared. The crystal had edges and corners, and there were wisps of white cyclones surging within it. Light and shadow overlapped, giving off a dreamy illusion. That is, for soul spirits. Everyone's heart skipped a beat, and their eyes shone with a fiery light. However, in the next moment, a figure with an extraordinary bearing appeared in the void. He reached out with one hand and took the crystal into his pouch. Everyone's expressions changed again. Li Yuanliang, Li Yinqing, and Lu Wuyue couldn't help but frown. When he saw the person clearly, Li Yuanliang swallowed and spat out two words coldly. Xiao, alliance. Whoosh! The moment he said that, the crowd gasped. Young Master Qingsheng, Xiao alliance. Many of their dissatisfaction turned into respect and admiration. In this dark place filled with demonic energy, the other party shone like the bright moon and stars. Young Master Qingsheng, as his name suggested, he was elegant, but he exuded a domineering aura. Li Yinqing chuckled lightly. The famous young Master Qingsheng has started to steal from others. Don't you think it's a little inappropriate for you to swagger around and take away the four soul spirits? Facing Li Yinqing's sneer, the Xiao Alliance smiled warmly. The 10-feathered demon blade's words are a little overboard. I was the one who killed the ice crystal WYRM in the end. What's wrong with me taking away the four soul spirits? Without the three of us, you probably wouldn't have been able to kill the ice crystal WYRM. That makes sense, but isn't it too early for us to say all this? Boom! Roar! The death of the ice crystal WRM blood demon did not stop the blood demon guards from killing. The fierce battle was still ongoing. Under the assault of the blood demon guards, the human side was still flustered. A dozen or so blood demon imperial guards immediately surrounded Li Yuanliang, Li Yinqing, Lu Wuyue, and the Xiao Alliance members. Demonic energy filled the sky. Dark clouds filled the sky. The great demons on the stone blocks reappeared in the world. Of the 24 blood demon statues, only 4 had yet to awaken. TSK, to be able to break the extreme cold storm, you guys have some ability. The White Star Tiger Demon raised an endless killing intent and pounced down. The tigers might shook the sky and roared. Today, none of you will be able to escape. Shameless boasting. The extreme cold storm has already disappeared. What other abilities do you have to trap us? A young and arrogant human expert shouted. That's right, with the heaven-raising sword finger and the 10-feather demon blade here, we don't have to worry at all. Kill. TSKVSK, what a foolish joke. A mocking sneer came from the mouth of a blood demon. Immediately after, a thunderous voice echoed in the valley, and surging demonic energy erupted like a mountain torrent. Chapter 1077. Limitless. Heart of Thorns, rumble. The overlapping sounds reverberated between the heavens and the earth like a shocking wave. Monstrous demonic energy swept out like an erupting mountain torrent. The hearts of the human experts trembled. One by one, their faces turned ghastly pale. Crack! In an instant, the deep ravine below, the rock walls, and the ground suddenly split open with streaks of dark red light patterns. The light patterns were like blood, dark and gloomy and chilly. Then, a series of crisscrossing vines quickly drilled out of the ground. Tens of thousands of vines and roots, like the tentacles of ghosts from hell, instantly covered the entire ravine and abyss. What is that? Everyone's expression changed again and again, and their pupils constricted. Before he could recover from the shock, all the vines and tree roots stood up straight, like giant pythons that soared into the sky, piercing through the earth and reaching the heavens. What? The human experts were shocked. Bang, bang, bang. Thick and heavy vines and tree roots swept fiercely on their bodies. The strong and violent force was like countless iron chains that crossed the river. The dragon-like giant vines were like thousands of octopus tentacles, entangling the human experts' limbs and bodies. Roar! Roar! The group of demons howled, and a demonic barrier was like fog. Hee hee, if you think that's all we have, then you're wrong. The show has just begun. Don't disappoint me. The ferocious laughter was like the mockery of a demon. The heavens and the earth changed color, and waves of murderous aura spread in all directions. In the blink of an eye, the huge ravine immediately turned into a magnificent land of thorns. The giant thorny vines that soared into the sky were like tentacles that extended endlessly, and they chased after the human experts from all angles. The giant vines were not only strong, but also as hard as iron. Moreover, their ends were abnormally sharp. Many human experts who were slower to react were directly pierced through by the vines. Once the giant vines entangled their targets, they quickly tightened like giant pythons coiling around their prey. As they tightened, countless sharp thorns grew out of the vines, piercing into the flesh like the giant mouth of a man-eating flower. A stream of blood splashed out from the cracks. The miserable scene could be called a massacre. Raising Heaven's sword finger, Li Yuanliang raised both of his fingers, and a sword rainbow flew out from his fingertips. It cut off the tree roots and vines, temporarily relieving the Han Yun sect disciples of their predicament. In this way, what was broken just now was only one of the Luo Sen's energy. That's good. Looks like you guys don't have to fight over the four-eye soul spirits in my hands anymore. Young Master Qing Sheng chuckled lightly. 10-feathered demon blade, Li Yinxing snorted coldly. Shameless. Xiao Meng was not angry. His figure was graceful as he continuously dodged the attacks of the vines. The agility of the movement technique was like a butterfly that threaded a needle through a cluster of flowers. Time is of the essence. Otherwise, we'll suffer heavy losses. I don't need you to remind me. Li Yinxing shouted coldly. His eyes suddenly turned cold. He raised his hands, and 10 feather blades appeared between his fingers. He threw them with a flip of his hand. The 10 flying blades were as fast as lightning, and they left behind sharp and resplendent shadows in the air. Although the flying blades were small, they shone with a shocking sharpness that could cut through iron like mud. No matter how strong and sturdy the vines were, they were immediately cut in half the moment they came into contact with the blades. The cuts were as clean as a mirror. Colorful rain of fire. Lu Weiyue, the prodigy of the firmament-gathering pavilion, also displayed her fatal elegance. Thousands of petals of fire swirled around her. Everywhere she went, the crimson flames were incomparably domineering, burning the forest of thorns into ashes. Kiki, ignorant fool. The mermaid blood demon revealed a sinister smile. His roar was like the shriek of a whale or a shark, and he was like a surging sea spirit. A huge wave that soared into the sky formed a powerful shockwave that crushed toward the crowd. The fatal elegance, Lu Weiyue frowned, and a hint of pride flashed through her eyes. She interlaced her fingers to form a seal, and an extremely hot and restless energy surged and spread out from her palms. Buzz, following that, a ferocious wave of fire came crashing down, meeting the waterfall shockwave head-on. Bang! The two powers of water and fire intertwined and tore at one another with reckless abandon. Along with a hissing sound, countless white water vapor rose up like a mushroom cloud, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Meanwhile, a series of extremely sturdy giant vines shot out from within the water vapor before rapidly wrapping around Lu Weiyue. Be careful, senior martial sister Lu. A few disciples of the profound Yang Palace hurriedly warned. However, not only did Lu Weiyue not evade, a cold and aloof smile appeared on her gorgeous face. Bang! A dull explosion erupted, and a crimson ring of light swept out from Lu Weiyue's body like a ring of stars. It was like a ripple spreading out from the surface of the water, and it appeared to be soft and gentle, but it was actually imbued with boundless power. All of the giant vines that were attacking Luwuyue were instantly reduced to countless wisps of ashes and sparks that drifted between heaven and earth. This is a good opportunity. Li Yuanliang pointed his sword at Lu Wuyue, and a sharp light flashed through his eyes. He rose into the air and looked down at the mermaid blood demon from above. Whoosh! He pointed his finger forward with his left hand, and a dazzling light blossomed from his fingertip. Divine Rhino Finger. The space trembled slightly, and the crisp sound of a sharp weapon tearing through the air rang out. A beam of light immediately shot out from Li Yuanliang's fingertip. The dazzling beam of light pierced through the air, and as it moved, the projection of a shimmering golden rhinoceros suddenly appeared at the front of the beam of light. The rhinoceros charged down at full speed, and the horn on its head was as sharp as a blade. Li Yuanliang's attack was completely timed. The mermaid blood demon had the least mobility among the 24 blood demon guards, so it had almost no chance to evade. Boom! The terrifying and mighty golden rhinoceros crashed into the mermaid blood demon's massive body. In the instant that it did so, water splashed in all directions, and waves surged. Bursts of splashing waves exploded wantonly. In the next instant, an extremely powerful beam of light burst forth, and like a divine arrow, it pierced straight through the center of the mermaid blood demon's chest. Its sharpness was astonishing, and it was on full display. While everyone was panicking, they couldn't help but marvel at Li Yuanliang. Ugh! The mermaid blood demon let out a shrill cry after being pierced by the sword finger. It swung its arms and body, but it was as if it was nailed to the ground, unable to move at all. From afar, the shining golden rhinoceros was still glowing brilliantly. The sharp rhinoceros horn pierced into the mermaid blood demon's chest, as if it was some kind of special seal. The rhinoceros' power imprisoned the mermaid blood demon within. Roar! The white star tiger demon and the other blood demons that had been revived immediately rushed over to provide support. They mainly targeted Li Yuanliang, Li Yinxing, Lu Wuyue, and the 4 people from the Shao Alliance. Violent energy clashed again and again, like meteorites crashing into each other. In the sky above the abyssal ravine, the nebula suddenly changed, and the storm blended together. It was completely chaotic. At this moment, Chu Hen was still entangled by a few mystic Yang Palace disciples. Don't even think about leaving here today. Surrender yourself to us. With Senior Sister Lu here, it's impossible for you to leave quietly. If you surrender obediently. Whoosh! Before the profound Yang Palace's disciple could finish his words, a violent wind pierced towards him. Before he could even react, an overlapping black shadow swept over his body. Bang! With a heavy thud, the mystic Yang Palace disciple spat out a mouthful of blood and fell. Then, a dozen vines of different sizes quickly wrapped around him like octopus tentacles. The person let out a short but urgent scream, and in the blink of an eye, he exploded into a cloud of blood mist. Damn it! The mystic Yang Palace disciples were so scared that their faces turned pale. Then, many python-like vines swept over from all directions. In such a hurry, they did not have the time to care about Chu Hen. They all drew their swords and slashed at the vines. Of course, Chu Hen, who was supposed to be an outsider, was now also the target of the vines' attacks. Moreover, there were many vines flying at him. The blue sky sword released thousands of rays of holy light, and with a wave of the sword rain-dazzled. One after another, the vines were cut down. Roar! Suddenly, a majestic demonic aura surged over. A black shadow covered the sky, and a huge demon whose entire body was made of rock and covered in a layer of black flame impressively appeared behind Chu Hen. The rock blood demon punched out like a moving mountain, setting off a thunderous momentum as it ruthlessly smashed towards Chu Hen. Chu Hen quickly turned around and blocked the attack with the sacred sword. Boom! It was comparable to a meteorite hammer as it smashed down, and a mass of chaotic energy ripples burst open in the void. The terrifying power poured into Chu Hen's body. His arms trembled violently, and he fell from the sky, falling towards the ground. Swish, 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 countless vines stretched out like hungry dragons, entangling each other and scuttling towards Chu Hen's surroundings, quickly interweaving into a huge cage net. The vine net tightened, and the sharp thorns of the vines flickered with the light of death. Chapter 1078. You got off easy this time. Seeing that Chu Hen was instantly entangled by countless giant vines after being struck by the rock blood demon, profound Yang Palace's proud daughter, Lu Yue, sneered. Swoosh, 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 one after another, sturdy vines filled with thorns soared into the sky like an evil dragon that had been starving for a long time. They quickly wrapped around the rapidly falling Chu Hen. In all directions, front, back, left, right, Chu Hen seemed to have fallen into countless horndragontree roots. A powerful destructive force followed the attack. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. Just when everyone thought that Chu Hen was about to lose his life, an incomparably fierce sword force suddenly erupted from within. Beams of dazzling sword aura pierced through the clouds like the dawn of dawn. The vines and thorns that entangled Chu Hen were intercepted and chopped off one after another. Following that, a ball of demonic purple flames blossomed from within, like a burning cloud in the sky, burning along the vines and thorns. The purple flame that seemed to have no trace of heat was actually extremely domineering. Wherever they went, no matter how sturdy the vines were, they were instantly burned into nothingness. Not even ashes fell. Roar, the rock blood demon, whose entire body was covered in dark flames, furiously roared. Then it dived straight down like a huge mountain pressing down towards Chu Hen's location. Buzz. In the next second, the rising purple flames rotated at high speed, suddenly turning into an earth-shattering, flaming storm. The space trembled uneasily, and the wind roared. The purple storm arrived and instantly engulfed the rock blood demon. A large area of purple flames quickly climbed up the rock blood demon's huge body, fiercely tearing at the black flames around it. The black flames and purple flames were like water and fire, fighting and killing each other. This guy? Looking at the rock blood demon engulfed in purple flames, the other human experts were all shocked. Chu Hen was actually able to pin down a blood demon guard on his own. It was truly surprising. Following that, an even more berserk and ferocious force was unleashed. Bolts of lightning shot out like flood dragons. 1,000 lightning escape. Chi-chi. 3,000 lightning strikes. Heaven and earth lost their color. The lightning pillar that appeared out of nowhere pierced through the blue dome of heaven and appeared around the rock blood devil. From afar, it looked like a huge pillar of lightning that was firmly stuck to the rock blood devil's huge body. Divine thunder trapping demon. It was like a cage of heavenly tribulation. Whoosh! The sound of something tearing through the air followed. In an instant, a young figure covered in dark blue lightning bolted out of the purple flames. His piercingly cold eyes flickered with lightning. Chu Hen held the blue sky sword with both hands and dashed toward the rock blood demon, who was immobilized by the lightning pillar. A string of dazzling electric arcs appeared in the air, and the blue sky sword shone with extraordinary splendor. The sword light that lingered on the sword quickly solidified. Electric currents flowed up and down, intertwining with one another. The sword in Chu Hen's hand instantly turned into a giant blade that was 20 to 30 meters long. Its entire body was crystal clear, as if it was condensed from the essence of lightning. Bang! A deafening explosion reverberated in the sky, causing the blue dome of heaven to lose its color. Under numerous gazes that were filled with astonishment, Chu Hen, with the might of thunder, fiercely stabbed the huge blade formed by the blue ran sword into the center of the chest of the rock blood demon. A violent and ferocious sword aura pierced through the rock blood demon's chest. Countless bolts of lightning bloomed in the center, and the dense electric arcs instantly spread all over the rock blood demon's body. The rock blood demon trembled as if it was paralyzed, and it couldn't move at all. It let out an angry roar. In a situation where he was ambushed, he was still able to counterattack and severely injure the rock blood demon. The aura that Chu Hen released shocked everyone present. The heaven-raising sword pointed at Li Yuanliang and 10-feather demon blade. Li Yinqing narrowed their eyes. The deadly elegance, Lu Wuyue's expression turned frosty. In comparison, she would rather see Chu Hen die at the hands of the rock blood demon. It's actually the profound killer divine lightning. Young master Xiao Meng raised his eyebrows, and a hint of contemplation appeared on his face. Found the target. Suddenly, Li Yunliang's eyes narrowed, and he shouted in a low voice. Everyone's hearts tightened. The blood demon guards that have mastered the 4 soul spirits of the wood element. Li Yuanliang raised his sword finger and pointed at a strange monster behind the blood demons. It was a tree-shaped demon, and there were a few hideous heads hanging from its lush branches. It's good that you found it. Leave it to me. Li Yinqing didn't say anything else, and he instantly turned into a bolt of lightning and charged forward. The blood demon guards in front of him immediately intercepted him. Li Yuanliang, Lu Wuyue, Xiao Meng, and the other geniuses also went to cover him. Bang! Boom! The collision of fierce forces caused explosions in the air above the ravine. Waves of air surged, and waves of energy surged. Waves of true origin energy and fiendish demonic chi overlapped and filled the sky. Under the cover of a few people, Li Yinqing was like a flowing light blade, directly cutting into the back of the blood demon guards. When he was less than 1,000 meters away from the tree demon, Li Yinqing waved his hand, and 10 light shadows shot out like arrows. The 10 light shadows were 10 feather-shaped flying blades. They tore through the air and were extremely sharp. The tree demon was already prepared. A dense demonic energy spread in all directions, and the lush branches and leaves grew and spread at a terrifying speed. In an instant, a thick layer of trees quickly lined up, like a small forest in front of the tree demon. Seeing this, Li Yinqing couldn't help but reveal a disdainful sneer. The 10 feather flying daggers cut into the forest like electric blades, cutting off branches and tree trunks one after another as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten would a cold and domineering aura whistled down. Layer after layer of sturdy wooden shields continued to thicken. However, the 10 flying blades were like swordfish in the sea, unstoppable. Buzz! When he was less than 1,000 feet away from the tree demon, Li Yinqing put his palms together, and a strange wave of energy was released from his body. The 10 flying blades seemed to have sensed something, and all of them glowed with a beautiful and gentle feather light. Whoosh! Accompanied by a loud and clear sound, the 10 flying blades shuttling through the trees actually came together in an extremely tacit manner. The blades were connected seamlessly from head to tail. The patterns on each flying blade were perfectly connected. In the blink of an eye, a short close-range battle blade appeared between heaven and earth. The corners of Li Yinqing's mouth curled up into a faint smile, confident and proud. His throat moved slightly, and he spat out a few words coldly. 10 feathers. Slash. Buzz. An astonishing blade aura swept out, and the battle blade formed by the 10 feather-shaped flying blades released a dazzling light. Chapter 1079. 10 Feather Slash. Xing, together with Li Yinqing's loud shout, an unparalleled and shocking saber aura instantly erupted. The sharp saber formed by the combination of 10 feather flying daggers emitted a blinding light. The light surrounding the blade rapidly expanded, and in an instant, a giant blade over 100 meters long slashed down at the Treant magic with the power to split mountains and split the sky. Bang, bang, bang. It was unstoppable and unstoppable. Wherever the 100-meter-long blade went, the trees and branches were all chopped into pieces. The wooden shields formed by the huge trees could not withstand a single blow. A neat cut pierced through the front and back of the tree demon. A proud sneer appeared on Li Yinqing's face. The dazzling light illuminated the sky and earth. The tree demon's ferocious face was also blurred by the dazzling light of the blade. In the next second, The giant blade cut through the air and hit the tree demon's huge body head-on. The thick armor-like bark was directly cut open, and a long and narrow hole quickly opened up on the huge and sturdy tree trunk. The sky-splitting blade seemed to have gone straight into the tree demon's heart, splitting its body layer by layer and entering its internal organs. Woo! The tree demon immediately let out a strange scream. Waves of scattered, demonic chi spread out from its body. The lush branches swayed up and down as if they were struggling in pain. At this moment, all the vines and thorns in the sky suddenly lost their vitality. The vines that wrapped around the human powerhouse also immediately loosened. It was as if a ferocious monster had been summoned back from hell. The thorns that covered the valley below retracted at a speed visible to the naked eye and burrowed back into the ground. Success. Everyone was overjoyed. Li Yinqing was even more delighted. The four souls of the wood element are indeed on it. A flash of light flashed in Li Yinqing's eyes, and he quickly rushed toward the heavily injured tree demon. Almost at the same time, a majestic heat wave surged down and surged toward the tree demon. Everyone was startled. They could only see balls of crimson fire rain flying towards the demonic tree. As they moved, the fire rain burst forth with extreme speed. The friction with the air caused each ball of fire rain to become as sharp as an arrow. Bang, bang, bang. Tens of thousands of sharp fiery rain rained down on the treant demon's broken body. Countless crimson holes appeared on his opponent's body. Then, with a loud bang, a cloud of flames surged up into the sky above the abyss ravine. The shockwaves that spread out in all directions were incomparably scalding. Vigorous air waves swept out, and the few blood demons and human experts in the surroundings were forced to retreat. Amidst the turbulent airwaves, a gorgeous figure dressed in red revealed her extraordinary elegance. She flipped her jade-like hand and gently took a crystal that was flickering with an emerald halo into her hand. "You?" Li Yinqing frowned and cursed in a low voice. "Give me back my 4 spiritual souls." The 4 spiritual souls of the ice element had been snatched away by young Master Qingsheng, Xiaoming. This 4 spiritual souls of the wood element had been snatched away by Lu Wuyue. This really pissed Li Yinqing off. Lu Wuyue looked up and put the emerald crystal into her pouch without hesitation. As cold and arrogant as she was, she couldn't even be bothered to explain. Starred woman. Li Yinqing gritted his teeth in hatred. Young Master Qingsheng, Xiaoming, raised an eyebrow and smiled calmly. "You have character. I like it, huh?" On the other side, Li Yuanliang, who had pushed back the white star tiger demon with a palm strike, seemed rather steady. He shouted coldly, "It's too early to be happy now." As expected, just as Li Yuanliang finished speaking, a blood demon that had just woken up and crawled out of the shattered stone statue suddenly released endless demonic energy and a bloodthirsty aura. "Hee, you actually killed so many of our companions. Next, I'll let you know what hell is. Buzz buzz." Chaotic, fiendish devil chi gathered above the blood devil's head like a nebula. Li Yuanliang's expression changed slightly as he muttered solemnly, "Eagle Tao Tai, Eagle Taoism?" Li Yinqing, Lu Wuyue, and the rest of the Shao Alliance were also shocked. Even Chu Hen, who was on the other side, felt an inexplicable sense of fear when he saw the man's face. The blood demon avatar looked extremely ferocious and terrifying. He had a goat's body and a ghost's face. His tiger's teeth were exposed, and his entire body exuded an evil aura. Its appearance was somewhat similar to the legendary ancient fierce beast, the Tao Tai. However, what was different from the Tao Tai was that this blood demon's 4 claws were like that of an eagle's, and it had eagle wings on its back. The difference was also rather obvious. However, those who were familiar with it knew. This blood demon eagle did have the bloodline of the ancient fierce beast, Tao Tai. Its bloodthirst and greed were enough to remind people of its ancestor. The Tao Tai bloodline was an innate, peerless, ferocious might. Rumble. The surging demonic energy expanded like a rapidly expanding whirlpool, surging from the blood demon eagle's head toward the human experts in front of it. The vast demonic energy instantly covered the entire sky. "Stop it!" Li Yuanliang immediately shouted. Without any hesitation, Li Yinsheng, Lu Wuyue, and the rest of the Shao alliance bypassed the other blood demon guards at their fastest speed and went straight for the blood demon eagle, which had just woken up not long ago, but shocked everyone as soon as it appeared. One had to admit that these four were indeed top-notch geniuses. Like a hummingbird passing through a field of flowers, they passed through the blood demon's obstruction and quickly cut into the abdomen. However, the blood demon eagle didn't seem to care at all. Facing the menacing and imposing four people, a scarlet light suddenly burst out of its ferocious eyes. Along with the trembling space, beams of light glowing with black light slashed down from the thick fog in the sky like demonic swords. They came down with the momentum of piercing through the sky, attacking Li Yuanliang, Lu Wuyue, and the other human experts in the area behind them. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The black light beams that suddenly shot down were extremely sharp. Everyone dodged and avoided them. Li Yuanliang and the four people from the Shao alliance also displayed extraordinary agility and positioning, brushing past every single black light pillar that descended from the sky. The distance between the four of them and the blood demon eagle was also rapidly shrinking. Since it's dead, then it's better to bury it underground forever. Li Yunliang's eyes turned cold, and he immediately became the main attacker. He condensed his sword fingers, and a beam of sword light shot out from the tip of his finger, dragging a powerful wave of air behind it. The sword light was like a shuttle, heading straight for the blood demon eagle's head. The blood demon eagle raised its head, and a majestic, ferocious energy surged out. Vast black light patterns shot out, shattering Li Yuanliang's sword fingers. At the same time, all the black light beams that pierced through the sky formed a strange, distorted state. What was going on? A bad premonition surged in everyone's heart. In an instant, a ferocious face appeared in the distorted black pillar of light. The faces became clearer, and then ferocious monsters crawled out of the black light beams. Chapter 1080. Sun Luo, Taodai Feast. The eagle Taodai blood demon's mouth emitted a majestic and ferocious aura. Roar. In an instant, the entire world was filled with frightening roars of demons. Under the horrified gazes of the crowd, ferocious and terrifying monsters directly drilled out of those black pillars of light. Evil energy invaded the world. A gloomy aura swept over like a black tide. A pair of sharp claws and fangs made people's pupils shrink. It was like a demon that had broken through the gates of hell and pounced on the human world. He, accompanied by a series of strange laughter, nearly 100 small eagle-towed eyes turned into streaks of afterimages and flew out, directly pouncing on the human experts who were still in shock. A chilly wave of air rushed over. Before a young man could react, a face with exposed fangs suddenly appeared in front of him. Bang! With a heavy, muffled sound, the black shadow directly pierced through his body. Blood rained down, and broken bones flew everywhere. The man's eyes were wide open, and he suddenly lowered his head. Shockingly, there was a disc-sized hole in the center of his chest. Just as he let out a panicked and terrified cry, two more monsters grabbed his left and right shoulders, their sharp claws digging deep into his flesh. Hiss! A sharp sound rang out, and the man's scream came to an abrupt end. The man's body was forcibly split into two, directly torn into two halves. Oh my God! The horrifying and bloody scene was really shocking, and it made people's scalps go numb. The human experts could be said to be shocked and angry at the same time. Damn it, these damn evil creatures. Like ferocious wolves and tigers that rushed into the crowd. An even more chaotic and fierce battle broke out. Black shadows flew around in the void, madly attacking and tearing. What was even more fatal was that the other blood demon guards also joined the battle. The human experts who were originally trying their best to restrain the blood demon guards and create opportunities for Yuan Liang and Lu Wuyue were suddenly at a loss. The little eagle-towed eyes were extremely fast. Their combat power was also incomparably fierce. They pounced on a person and bit them to death. Their barbed claws were embedded in the flesh, and they were firmly attached to their bodies. They couldn't even shake them off. Help! All kinds of miserable screams rang out incessantly. One after another, human experts were killed by the little eagle Taodai. It was a tragic sight. The demons drank the blood wantonly and devoured it cruelly. Pairs of greedy vertical pupils exuded madness and bloodlust. The incomparably bloody scene of slaughter perfectly illustrated the meaning of the 4 words gluttonous feast. Chu Hen, who had planned to stay out of this mess and leave after saving Jingshu, was also quietly involved in this messy quagmire. 5 or 6 eagle Taoists directly surrounded Chu Hen. It opened its ferocious mouth, and saliva dripped from the corner of its mouth. The corners of Chu Hen's eyes narrowed slightly. He held the blue sky sword, and the space between his brows was calm and steady. Roar! The sharp roar was like a bugle to launch an attack. A few eagle Taoists burst out with a fierce aura and pounced on Chu Hen as fast as lightning. Oomph! Chu Hen swept out his sword, and the fierce and vigorous sword momentum rose like a flying dragon. The 360-degree sword chi swept in all directions, and there was a dazzling lightning surging in the sword momentum. Rumble! A series of heavy explosions and thunderbolts burst out, and all the eagle Taoists pouncing on Chu Hen were cut down and sent flying. Roar! At the same time, a huge black shadow shrouded the sky behind Chu Hen. Turning around, he suddenly raised his head. What appeared in front of Chu Hen was a giant crocodile blood demon covered in heavy scales. Unlike ordinary giant crocodiles, this blood demon stood upright like a human, looking like a strange lizard man. The crocodile demon waved its claws at Chu Hen. Buzz! Dazzling light flashed. While attacking Chu Hen, a wheel knife appeared in the crocodile demon's claw. The wheel knife was covered with sharp teeth, and it looked like half a gear. The huge wheel knife pressed down, exuding the power to take lives. Chu Hen frowned slightly and raised his sword. A fierce and powerful sword beam slashed upward, like a divine rainbow piercing through the moon, and firmly hit the edge of the wheel knife in the crocodile demon's claw. Boom! Frenzied airwaves splashed between heaven and earth, and fierce true essence flew and swept everywhere. Then a beam of dark green light pierced through the air like a stream of light, and went straight to the crocodile demon's huge head. The crocodile demon's pupils turned, and when he looked carefully, he saw that the stream of light was wrapped in a colorful holy sword. Flying fairy flash, a deep and gloomy voice quietly spread out. In the instant that the green holy sword swept past the crocodile demon's head, the flow of the air rapidly accelerated. An afterimage instantly streaked across the horizon. Chu Hen, who was still below the crocodile demon a second ago, had shockingly chased after the blue-ran sword. The crocodile demon's ugly and terrifying face showed some surprise and panic. Then, Chu Hen firmly grasped the hilt of the sword, and with strength in his arms, he dragged the sword and swept it horizontally towards the crocodile demon's head. Chi-chi! Thousands of lightning bolts appeared. Violent dark blue electric beams flowed around the sword, intertwining with each other. The sword energy covering the sword rapidly expanded, and in an instant, it turned into a huge electric blade that was hundreds of meters wide. The intertwining electric light was stunning. It even pierced the crocodile demon's eyes. The crocodile demon showed obvious fear and uneasiness. As one of the 24 blood demons, it actually felt a threat from this young man who had not even reached the ancient eternal realm. Clang! Thunder roared, and the whole scene was suppressed. For example, the 100-meter-long electric blade of the god blade cut horizontally on the crocodile demon's huge head, shining brightly. Dark red blood splattered, and the crocodile demon's scales cracked. More than half of the crocodile demon's huge mouth was directly cut off. Roar! The enraged roar and howl caused the mountains and rivers to tremble. Chu Hen's figure exuded an incomparably fierce aura. In the midst of their panic, the human experts became more and more shocked. In just a short period of time, Chu Hen had consecutively injured 2 blood demon guards. Such a performance had truly stunned everyone. However, apart from Li Yuanliang, Lu Weiyue, Li Yinqing, and the Shao Alliance, there was no one else present who could compare to Chu Hen's performance. Even though the people participating in the Immortal Devil Tombs operation were all young, promising, and extraordinarily powerful. However, they were facing the once infamous 24 blood demon guards. Even though they were trying their best to stabilize the formation, the slaughter was still ongoing and the gluttonous feast was still on. We can't delay any longer. Li Yuanliang pointed his sword at the human side and turned around to look at the heavy casualties on the human side, his eyes surging with intense coldness. You guys are too slow. Lu snorted coldly, and with a flip of her hand, a pillar of fire appeared, directly burning a few eagle Taoists beside her to ashes. We just need to get rid of it. The 4 of them once again focused their attention on the ferocious eagle Taoist blood demon. The piercingly cold air whistled through the air as the 4 of them gathered their strength and moved. However, at this moment, another stone statue in the area behind them cracked open and exploded. Broken rocks scattered everywhere, accompanied by a gray aura that filled the sky and covered the earth. The gray aura rushed toward them. The expressions of Li Yuanliang, the Shao Alliance, and the others all changed. This is... Li Yinqing lowered his head slightly, only to see the gray aura directly penetrate the true origin energy shield around his body, splashing on his skin and immediately causing his skin to wrinkle a little. This was not good. The eyes of the 4 of them revealed a somewhat solemn expression. Within a majestic gray aura was a huge snake body. As the body slowly twisted, a giant snake with a single horn on its head and grayish-brown ancient inscriptions gradually appeared in everyone's sight. Desolate. Desolate devil. Li Yinqing subconsciously clenched his fists. Desolate. Ancient aura. Desolate snake. An ancient race. Hiss. In an instant, the giant snake twisted its huge body, looking at everyone with a cold and indifferent attitude. At the same time, a thick, surging gray aura swept the heaven and earth. Chapter 1081. Limitless. Great desolation. The ancient and dark destructive aura was like an uncontrollable gray torrent that instantly swept across the world. It swept across the sky above the abyss in all directions. The gray vortex covered the sky and earth. It formed a powerful shock wave that spread out. In an instant, the world changed color, as if the ancient power of desolation was eroding this area. The sky and earth turned into a dim yellow space. Dust filled the sky. Traces of yellow sand mixed with brown turbid air filled the sky. The surrounding mountain walls seemed to have experienced the baptism of countless years. Many plants and flowers on it withered and turned into dust, dancing in the air along with the dust. It was like the gray aura of the god of death had descended. All the vitality in the world dimmed at the fastest speed. Buzz, all the human experts who were enveloped by the power of desolation were directly eroded by this overbearing power. Everyone's skin quickly wrinkled as the vitality in their bodies was plundered. There were even some with weaker cultivations whose bodies rapidly shriveled. It was as if their flesh, blood, tendons, and bones were sucked out. In an instant, they became a few lifeless mummies. Oh my God! Before the first wave subsided, another wave arose. Before the Taotia's feast was over, the great desolation erupted once again. The domain formed by the 2 terrifying powers was like a hunting cage that enveloped everyone. The power of desolation was as overbearing as a poisonous, evil fire. It caused people from the inside to the outside, including the surface of their skin and organs. Everyone had no choice but to release more true inner force to defend themselves. However, the fierce and swift eagle Taoists and the powerful blood demon guards would not hesitate to open their bloodthirsty claws and teeth. Boom! Bang! Waves of heavy power surged in the sky. The cruel killing of the blood demon guards escalated and became one-sided. The cruel eagle Taoists pounced on them and tore them apart. One by one, the human experts had their limbs separated and their bodies broken. They died miserable deaths. The human side had completely fallen into a defensive state. Apart from a few people who still had the ability to fight, the others were completely suppressed. What an overbearing power! Looking at the slightly wrinkled and cracked skin on the back of his hand, Chu Hen's face showed some seriousness. His gaze instinctively swept across Li Yuanliang and the four people from the Shao Alliance in the area in front of him. He saw that aside from a cautious expression on their faces, there was not much worry. Looks like it's time to get serious. Young Master Qing Sheng, Xiao Meng, raised his brows and revealed a proud smile. Li Yunliang's eyes turned cold as he said solemnly, "Junior Sister Lu and I will deal with Desolate Devil. The two of you are in charge of Ying Tao." "No problem." Xiao Meng's tone was quite relaxed. "Time is of the essence. If everyone else dies, there won't be much meaning." I'm definitely faster than you guys." As soon as Xiao Meng finished speaking, an aura that was dozens of times stronger than before suddenly erupted from his body. Waves of qi stacked up, and true essence surged like a tide. Beams of intertwining true essence energy shot up into the sky. The man's temperament immediately underwent a huge change. He went from being elegant and arrogant to wild and unrestrained. Divine body? The Taoist eagle blood demon let out a low alert sound. "Haha, begin." Xiao Meng looked up to the sky and laughed. Then, a vast and majestic aura rushed towards the Taoist eagle blood demon. Surging true essence energy surged out. Xiao Meng reached out with one hand. The veins on his arm bulged and looked powerful. Strange runes that looked like ancient characters appeared on his arm. The shocking aura was like the hand of a demon god. Xiao Meng raised his hand and flipped it. The space around the Taoist eagle blood demon immediately fell into a state of distortion. Strange runes of light appeared out of thin air, intertwining to form four enormous walls of light. Insignificant tricks, the Taoist eagle blood demon's eyes shone with scarlet light. The demonic energy in his body rose like fog. However, before he could forcefully break through the four walls of light, along with the sounds of iron chains interweaving with each other, incomparably sturdy chains actually flowed out of the wall of light. The top of each chain was connected to a sickle. The sharp sickle pierced towards the Taoist eagle blood demon and quickly pierced into his body. Roar! The next moment, the Taoist eagle blood demon's monstrous aura was immediately suppressed. The demonic energy that was rapidly condensing also came to a halt. "I believe that you have never been trapped by the sky catcher holy body before. This is the first time, and it will also be the last time." A light chuckle with a hint of mockery spread. The Taoist eagle blood demon's pupils trembled. It suddenly raised its head. At this moment, Xiao Meng had already appeared above its head. He was like a domineering demon catcher. He looked down at the Taoist eagle blood demon with a disdainful attitude. Then he extended his arm that was covered with mysterious runes, and a ball of white light bloomed in his palm. Whoosh! More than a dozen hook-sickle iron chains that looked like giant pythons flew out of Xiao Meng's palm. The iron chains rapidly attacked the Taoist eagle blood demon. The sickle at the front directly pierced into the latter's back. Endless power was injected into it. The Taoist eagle blood demon immediately roared to the sky, but it could not break free. Roar! "Heh!" Seeing this, the other blood demons immediately turned around and came to help. Waves of ferocious demon energy came crashing in their direction. However, Xiao Meng did not care at all. He did not even bat an eyelid. A cold light flashed in the corner of his eyes, and a surge of bloodline boundary power was released. Countless iron wires with a golden luster flew out of his body. Thousands of iron wires quickly intertwined like forked tree branches. Every fork had sharp and dense barbs growing out of it. In an instant, with Xiao Meng as the center, a huge lantern made of intertwined iron wires appeared between heaven and earth. All of the powerful demon energy that was invading was blocked outside. Is this the power of the sky catcher, holy body? It's indeed powerful. Everyone who witnessed the scene was secretly shocked. This is what I've been waiting for. At the same time, the tin-feathered devil blade, Li Yinqing, had finished accumulating power. Rumble, an equally powerful and monstrous aura, spread out in all directions from his body. The mighty saber aura whistled through the sky like a meteor. Li Yinqing attacked the Taoist eagle blood demon in front of him with all his might. As he moved, the aura Li Yinqing exuded increased exponentially. What was more shocking was that even his appearance was changing rapidly. Demonic patterns appeared on the skin of his face. His eyes turned into red dots, and even his black hair turned silver. Saint Body, Ghost Cultivator, Li Yinqing shouted and instantly turned into the legendary ghost swordsman. Roar! At the same time, the White Star Tiger Demon dashed over and blocked Li Yinqing's way. Li Yinqing's lips curled up, revealing 2 sharp teeth and a devilish smile. With a flip of his hand, 10 feather flying daggers shot out like lightning. They left long and narrow trails of light in the air. They were as sharp as lightning as they attacked the White Star Tiger Demon in his way. The dangerous aura was unusually sharp. The White Star Tiger Demon immediately tried to dodge. However, it was too late. The 10 flying daggers were like flying shuttles that traveled thousands of years. They instantly pierced into the huge body of the White Star Tiger Demon. Roar! The tiger's trembling roar was filled with intense anger and shock. In the next instant, with a bang sound, a bloody hole that was dozens of meters wide appeared on the back of the White Star Tiger Demon. As blood rained down, a close-range saber with a cold glint swept out like a divine blade. This saber had already appeared when he was killing the tree demon. It was a sharp weapon made up of 10 feather flying daggers. Buzz! The sharp saber aura made heaven and earth tremble. Li Yinqing, who was following closely behind, did not waste any time on the White Star Tiger Demon. His speed exploded, and he flew up, holding the saber's hilt tightly with both hands. The power of the Ghost Cultivator's bloodline eroded heaven and earth like a tornado. The sky changed, and the wind howled. Under the dark sky, a huge saber aura that spanned thousands of meters suddenly appeared. Layers of energy ripples flowed up and down the saber aura. Li Yinqing dragged the saber with both arms and slashed at the eagle blood demon in front of him. Ghost Saber, goodbye, goodbye. Dominating the land and rivers, soaring cloud Ghost Cultivator. The eagle blood demon's pupils shrank rapidly. Suppressed by the Shao Alliance's sky, capturing holy body, it had no chance to dodge. It could only watch as the shocking saber aura stung the corner of its eyes. Hiss! The saber split the sky, and the huge saber slashed across the sky like a divine beam that split the clouds. The eagle blood demon's huge body and the hook and sickle chains that wrapped around it were also shattered. Layers of flesh and blood were torn apart, and broken bones flew. Chapter 1082. Ghostblade, goodbye. Li Yinqing's red eyes flickered with a frightening light. His aura was astonishing. Bang! The blade split the sky, and an unparalleled murderous aura slashed across the sky. The incomparably sharp, 1,000-meter-long blade was like a divine radiance that could split the clouds. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, this world-destroying blade slashed across the enormous body of the Taotai eagle blood demon. Layers of flesh split open, and broken bones flew everywhere. The hook and sickle chains that wrapped around its body also shattered. His aura broke through the mountains and rivers and shook the heavens. Divine body, conquering the heavens, Ghost Cultivator bloodline. In just a few blinks of an eye, young Master Qin Sheng, Xiao Meng, and 10-feather demon blade Li Yinqing had completed a perfect and exquisite cooperation. Hee, that's pretty fast. Xiao Meng rubbed his chin playfully and said to Li Yinqing with a smile. Li Yinqing glanced at him coldly. Then, he moved and dashed into the chaotic cyclone. With a flip of his hand, he took a crystal that was glowing with a black light. Looks like it's the 4 soul spirits of hunting power. Xiao Meng continued with a smile. Li Yinqing sneered. What? You want more? Previously, Xiao Meng and Lu Wuyue had gotten the 4 soul spirits of ice and 4 soul spirits of wood, which made Li Yinqing very unhappy. Once the eagle Taodai blood demon was killed, the other party would hunt down the 4 soul spirits as quickly as possible. Xiao Meng raised an eyebrow. If you want to give it to me, I'll reluctantly accept it. Piss off. Li Yinqing's eyes turned cold as he shouted in a deep voice. Bang bang. As soon as the eagle Taodai blood demon was killed, the ferocious little eagle Taodais were like bubbles on the surface of water, turning into thousands of crystal shards and dissipating in the air. The powerhouses who had been suppressed to the point where they couldn't move at all heaved a sigh of relief. As expected of a divine body. How enviable. Don't be envious. The danger is not over yet. Everyone was stunned. At the same time, their attention shifted to the other 2 geniuses. At this moment, heaven-raising sword finger Li Yuanliang and fatal elegance Lu Wuyue had already broken through the obstruction of a few blood demons and arrived in front of Desolate Devil. It's better to bury an anti-soul item in the ground. Lu Wuyue's beautiful face was filled with pride. Her palms raised a surging wave of flames, pouncing towards Desolate Devil. Hiss hiss! Desolate Devil let out a threatening howl. Following that, his gigantic snake body stood up straight. Like an ancient ferocious beast, his figure was extremely ferocious. With a sweep of the snake's tail, it was like a broad blade that cut through the flow of water, and the wave of fire that was pouncing toward the other party was split apart. At the same time, Li Yuanliang, who was the main attacker, stood in the air with 2 fingers pointing downwards. Wisps of flowing air ripples emitted an extremely astonishing might. Swish, swish, swish. In a split second, 5 beams of light shot towards Desolate Devil's location like divine pillars that pierced through the sky. Desolate Devil swayed his agile and sturdy snake body and dodged. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A few pillars of light struck the gigantic stone block beneath Desolate Devil's body. The strong and ferocious energy leaked out. The entire stone block was instantly covered in cracks. And then with a boom sound, it collapsed and exploded. Rolling rocks fell everywhere. The desolate snake immediately soared into the air, its sharp vertical pupils suffused with a dark green light. Buzz. Following that, circles of vast and majestic gray light patterns surged out from his body. The gray light patterns that contained an extremely terrifying power were like a plague poison that came from the source of death. Wherever they went, everything would be barren. The world was dusky and dark. Dust filled the air, and the air was thin. All of the life energy was plundered. Facing such a tyrannical power of desolation, Lu Wuyue was not afraid in the slightest. A trace of frivolity appeared on her beautiful face. Following that, a multicolored flame actually rose from her body. Her body seemed to be covered in a layer of multicolored robes. She raised her jade-like arms and crossed her hands slightly. Buzz! Space trembled, and a ball of strange flames that glowed with 6 different colors quietly gathered in front of her. The moment the gorgeous flames appeared, the surrounding space was burned to the point of distorting. As the color of the flame changed, the energy fluctuations it released were also different. The red flame was the hottest, while the green flame was the coolest. A cold light flashed in Lu Wuyue's eyes as she formed a seal with her jade-like fingers. Hua! A 6-colored rainbow bridge suddenly appeared in the sky, piercing straight towards Desolate Devil from beneath her feet. The gorgeous rainbow bridge fire shot down, smashing into the layers of gray light patterns with a destructive force. The magnificent scene was like a sharp arrow that shot into the infinitely expanding nebula vortex. The 6-colored rainbow bridge directly pierced into the surging gray cyclone and went straight in front of Desolate Devil. A gap was instantly torn open between the two. This is the 6 Flames' sacred body, the crowd exclaimed in surprise. Only the 6 Flames' sacred body can block Desolate Devil's power of desolation. The 6 Flames bloodline truly lives up to its reputation. Without giving anyone too much time to exclaim in surprise, Lu Yue glided through the air like a spirit goose and stepped onto the path opened up by the six-colored rainbow bridge. The moment she stepped onto the rainbow bridge, Lu Yue's speed increased by several times. Swish! It was as if a divine light was flashing, and, at the same time, the aura she released increased by several times. Streams of six-colored ripples intertwined with each other and swam around Lu Yue's body. Gorgeous flames rose and ignited. A layer of white concave appeared in the air between heaven and earth, and the multicolored robe around Lu Yue's body became even more beautiful. Following that, a pair of huge and luxurious wings spread out, setting off surging waves screech. A loud and clear phoenix cry resounded through the world, and the silhouette of a phoenix enveloped Lu Yue as it whistled down. The scorching aura that blotted out the sky and covered the earth surged over. Before Desolate Devil could react, the phoenix silhouette that was brimming with energy had already crossed the resplendent rainbow bridge and instantly charged over. Bang! The sky was filled with divine, multicolored light, as if the sun was shining in the sky. The incomparably beautiful shadow of the divine bird solidly struck Desolate Devil's gigantic snake body, like a gigantic shadow blade that pierced through the clouds. A layer of majestic gray chi mixed with 6 different colored flames soared into the sky, exploding in the sky, engulfing the 9 heavens. Hiss! The desolate snake let out a sharp hiss as the scales on its body shattered inch by inch. At the same time it was sent flying, a long and narrow wound rapidly opened up. A good chance. Li Yunliang's eyes turned cold as he shot out without hesitation. However, the other blood devils who had rushed over to support had already expected Li Yuanliang to do this. One after another, gigantic beings erupted with monstrous, fiendish, demonic energy. Following that, waves of domineering energy blasted towards Li Yuanliang from all directions. Senior brother Yuanliang, be careful. Everyone's hearts were in their throats, but Li Yuanliang did not dodge at all. In the next second, a series of violent devil flame shockwaves bombarded Li Yuanliang's body at almost the same time. The concentrated explosive power was comparable to the collision of stars and meteorites. A series of violent shockwaves swept out in all directions. The world shook and the mountains and rivers trembled. A violent storm of energy immediately swept through the world. On the other side, Chu Hen's gaze darkened. A look of bewilderment surged between his brows. With this combined attack, no matter how talented Li Yuanliang was, he would definitely be reduced to ashes. But no matter what, the other party would not make such a mistake. Boom! While he was still deep in thought, a violent pillar of air exploded outwards. Chu Hen raised his eyes, only to see Li Yuanliang piercing through the chaotic energy storm and scathe, and not only did his attack not decrease, it exploded out with an even stronger attack, straight in front of Desolate Devil. This? Chu Hen was not the only one who was shocked. Under such a terrifying power, he was not injured at all. Fisk, looking at Li Yuanliang, who was approaching menacingly, Desolate Devil was alarmed and angry. He opened his mouth wide, and a thick gray demonic mist shot out like a gray pillar of fire. Li Yuanliang once again plunged into the power of desolates that no one could avoid. The moment he charged into the gray mist, something surprising happened. Li Yuanliang's body actually appeared to be in an illusory state. His entire body was almost transparent. He did not look like a real body, but like an illusion. There's no mistake. This is the Shadow Holy Body. The crowd exclaimed once again. Shadow Holy Body? Chu Hen was also slightly startled. It seemed that this so-called Shadow Holy Body was able to change the degree of one's physique in a certain state, thus achieving the miraculous effect of filtering out all external energy impacts. Chu Hen secretly nodded. It had to be said that these 4 people were not characters that ordinary people could compare to. Under the protection of the bloodline boundary of the Shadow Holy Body, Li Yuanliang was like a sharp sword that pierced straight into the deep sea, directly passing through the gray demonic mist attack and charging in front of Desolate Devil. He was shocked and angry. Even more so, he was shocked and surprised. A trace of coldness surfaced in Desolate Devil's eyes. As an anti-soul corpse, it had no way of stopping these genius experts with sacred body bloodlines in front of it. Goodbye. A playful voice came out from Li Yuanliang's mouth, and a resplendent golden light burst out from his body. Following that, two of his fingers shot out, and like a bunch of divine swords, they pierced straight into Desolate Devil's huge mouth. It was already too late for Desolate Devil to defend. Bam! With a loud sound, a sharp sword pillar pierced through the sky. From the inside out, it pierced through Desolate Devil's huge head. Blood splattered everywhere as a violent wave of air surged out. Chapter 1083. Bang! Accompanied by a heavy and sturdy sound, a sharp pillar of light that was like a divine pillar piercing through the heavens pierced through Desolate Devil's gigantic head from the inside out. Blood splattered everywhere, and a ferocious stream of air surged out from the wound. He twisted his huge snake body powerlessly, and with a bang sound, pieces of flesh and scales flew everywhere, and Desolate Demon's body exploded into countless pieces. The sky trembled, and the space shook. The earth-shattering aura was like a thunderstorm that engulfed the heaven and earth. After Xiao Meng and Li Yinqing perfectly joined forces to kill Hawk Blood Demon, Lu Wuyue cooperated with Li Yuanliang to kill Desolate Demon. Young Master Qingsheng, 10-feathered demon blade, fatal elegance, sky sword finger. The four geniuses with shocking sacred body bloodlines could be said to live up to their reputations. Under the power storm that filled the sky and earth, Li Yuanliang had an imposing appearance and a piercingly cold gaze. He raised his hand and sucked a ball of gray light into his palm. Everyone's hearts trembled slightly. Inside the ball of gray light was a crystal similar to the 3 Force Soul Souls from before. This is good. We can split it evenly. Young Master Qingsheng, Xiao Meng, raised his eyebrows and said with a lazy smile. 10-feathered demon blade, Li Yinqing snorted, as if expressing his dissatisfaction. After all, Xiao Meng obtained the 4 souls the easiest. Fortunately, all 3 of them obtained it, otherwise there would definitely be a dispute. Roar! Woo! With the 4 souls stolen, all the demons were enraged. Demonic chi surged around their bodies, and their blood-red eyes emitted a majestic aura of anger. Heh! Li Yinqing sneered. It's time to free these pitiful fellows. After saying that, the sacred body of Ghost Cultivator released a sharp aura. Li Yinqing held his blade with both hands, like a ghost warrior born in hell, and took the lead to slash at the nearest blood demon. Li Yuanliang, Lu Wuyue, and Xiao Meng also displayed their prodigy's abilities. Gorgeous and powerful martial arts constantly evolved from their hands. The heavenly stars exploded, and flames burned the sky. An earth-shattering wave of energy howled through the sky. Kill! Avenge our dead brothers. It's time for us to counterattack. Under the lead of Li Yuanliang and Xiao Meng, they quickly launched the most ferocious counterattack. After losing the domain power created by Sun Luo's power, the remaining blood demons were nothing to fear. One after another, the blood fiends began to perish under the joint attacks of everyone. Killing intent filled the sky, and the situation was completely reversed. Looks like they won. On a mountain range about 5 kilometers away from the deep ravine, the eyes of the burly red dragon demon Venerable sank slightly, and there was a hint of disappointment in his tone. So what? Even if they have the last laugh, they've also suffered heavy casualties. Bloodbat demon Venerable chuckled. The others are nothing to be afraid of. The main problem is that the 4 divine physiques are a bit troublesome. It doesn't matter. Just the 4 of them won't be able to break through the 10-directional restriction that we set outside the demon god's tomb. Moreover, as the bloodbat demon Venerable spoke, he immediately looked at the beautiful and refined young figure not far away. Although the 4 geniuses were peerless and powerful, her emotions didn't seem to fluctuate at all. The pair of clear eyes behind the mask were like a deep pool of autumn water, very calm. Boom! Suddenly, at this moment, a violent turbulence suddenly spread from the center of the immortal and devil tomb. The red dragon demon Venerable and the bloodbat demon Venerable's expressions changed, and they suddenly turned back to look at the sky behind them. There, the black fog that covered the sky and the earth was like a 1,000-year sandstorm. The black fog connected the sky at the top and the earth at the bottom. Thunder clouds rolled in the ninth heaven, and the mountains and rivers trembled. In the interior of the fog, there was a vigorous and piercingly cold blood light surging. The blood light that couldn't be suppressed, such as the red light that was about to penetrate the clouds. Looking from afar, it gave people a very unstable feeling. The restless and majestic energy was like the accumulated thunder clouds at the mouth of a volcano, as if it would usher in a huge, earth-shattering change at any time. That is, the two demon venerables looked at each other and saw the doubt and caution in each other's eyes. It wasn't the first time. Previously, when they were fighting with the human experts in the Grand Canyon in front of them, they chose to retreat because of this sudden change. They didn't expect that after a while, there would be another change. Swoosh! At this moment, an extremely fast figure flew from the center of the immortal and devil tomb. It was a demon beast in the shape of a praying mantis. Its hands were like sabers, and its body was slender and narrow. It was extremely sharp. Lord Red Dragon, Lord Bloodbat, the praying mantis demon beast hurriedly flew over, bent his knees, and spoke in the human language. Speak! The red dragon strode forward, and there was some confusion between his slightly furrowed brows. Demon Venerable Yen Luo and Seven-Headed Demon Venerable, please return immediately. The 10 directions restriction that we set up is quite unstable. What caused it? The Bloodbat Demon Venerable asked in a deep voice. I'm not sure. The praying mantis demon beast shook his head in confusion and said with uncertainty, it seems that the problem came from the inside of the demon emperor's tomb. Oh, the two of them were even more surprised. What was going on inside the demon emperor's tomb? There's no time to lose. Let's go. The red dragon demon Venerable said. Wait. The bloodbat demon Venerable immediately stopped him and turned around to look at the sky above the ravine where the chaotic battle had broken out. He said, these annoying flies won't stay here obediently. The bloodbat demon Venerable's eyes flashed coldly, and his red lips curled up, revealing 2 sharp teeth at the corner of his mouth. Bang! Bang! Wave after wave of vigorous and violent energy shock waves surged in the void. All kinds of fierce and violent storms swept across the sky. Under the strong counterattack of the human powerhouses, the anti-soul blood demon guards fell back into the bottomless, endless hell like collapsed mountains and palaces. Powerful martial skills, such as the sun-piercing rainbow. The humans who had been in a sullen state finally fought a battle to turn the situation around. The number of blood demon guards decreased rapidly, and the monstrous demonic aura in the sky was gradually dispelled as if it had welcomed the holy light of the sun. Li Yuanliang, Xiao Meng, Li Yinqing, and Lu Wuyue were even more dazzling. The 4 of them, who had unleashed the limits of their sacred bodies, could fight a blood demon guard alone without any pressure. The 10-feathered demon blade was extremely domineering, and Li Yinqing, who had turned into a ghost warrior, released a raging power that shook the sky. The blade split the sky and earth. A rock blood demon was instantly torn into pieces. Young Master Qinsheng, Xiao Meng, used his sacred body to seize the sky, and demon-trapping divine chains appeared in his 5 fingers. They were like chains that crossed the river, dancing like dragons and snakes. Telepathic finger. Bang! The air flowed, and the light shone like a rainbow. A beam of light pierced through the huge body of the white star tiger demon with the force of lightning, and an extraordinary aura swept in all directions. Blood splattered, and frost filled the sky. The white star tiger demon, who was regarded as an evil creature that loved to kill, let out a low roar for the last time, and its huge body fell from the sky. Rumble, Following that, a colorful nebula of fire soared into the sky and instantly swallowed the white star, demonic tiger demon. The vigorous flames even caused the space to distort from the heat. The short and hurried cries of agony quietly faded into silence. It's over. Ah, we won. I'm not dead yet. When the last blood demon fell, all the human experts present heaved a sigh of relief. Most of them were exhausted, and their bodies were covered in blood. They looked at the people around them, both excited and angry. This bunch of damn bastards finally went back to hell. They killed so many of us. Looks like the so-called 24 Blood Demon Guards under Yama King are only SOSO. This battle was satisfying. However, before they could rest for a while, a surging red cloud rose in the center of the immortal and devil tomb. Many dazzling runes shone like stars in the sky. Even though the restless aura was dozens of miles away, it was still very strong. What a strong demonic aura! Young Master Xiao Ming narrowed his eyes, looking cautious. If I'm not wrong, that should be the tomb of the demon god. It's also the reason why the demon clan is causing trouble. Sword-raising finger Li Yuanliang said in a deep voice. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. 10-feathered demon blade, Li Yinqing shouted. Li Yuanliang frowned and turned around to look at the people behind him. They had just gone through a huge battle, and they were all exhausted. Even though they had defeated the 24 blood demon guards, they had also suffered heavy casualties. It would not be appropriate for them to just go in like this. However, on second thought, the four of them all had sacred bodies and bloodlines. They did not have to worry too much. Even if they were to face the demon venerables, they would not be afraid. Let's go. After a short hesitation, Li Yuanliang and the other three took the lead and flew in the direction of the demon god's tomb. The others did not hesitate at all. To them, the four of them were absolute insurance. Roar. However, in the next second, an earth-shattering roar of a demonic beast resounded in the sky. The surging invisible sound waves made everyone's blood boil. Everyone's expression changed. They saw a 3,000-meter-long flood dragon with red scales soar into the sky, sweeping up an earth-shattering wave of air. If you don't want to be wiped out, I advise you to stop immediately. Roar. Woo. Then, a horde of demonic beasts rushed out like a black wave. The mountains were quickly occupied by the battle, and the sky was filled with black beasts.